ABC Sport. ABC Sport.
They've got players who looked lazy last night, didn't look interested. You know, there's lots of blokes getting lots of money there and not much output. You want to challenge Richmond? Good luck. Bring your best game or you just get rolled over like everyone else does.
Paul Kelly's with us. Brownlow medal, do you have it on display or is it tucked away somewhere safe?
No, it is on display.
Sid Jackson, welcome aboard.
Thank you. To be put alongside some other great players, it's a great honour.
Jim's given us a call from Warrnambool.
I want to speak to Sellers about St Kilda.
I'm here, Jim.
Marilyn's given us a call from Shepparton.
I want to speak to Mark and ask him if he remembered leaving a big photo of himself in white bathers in a house in Mornington when he was in his 20s. A very show-off one it was.
I hope maybe, Matt, you can adjudicate because I think that Mark's not going to like what I got to say.
I like it, Ian. You bounced out of the corner. Righto, Sellers, over to you.
Stay there, Ian. Stay there, Ian. Hang in there.
Now here's Matt Clinch and Mark McClure on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital with no excuses.
Saturday afternoon footy from the MCG as round 10 of the AFL continues. It's Carlton taking on Hawthorn. It might be the perfect recipe for no excuses this afternoon after last night the Lions on the rise with a 28-point victory over Richmond at the Gabba. So the Brisbane Lions moved to third on the AFL table, 7 wins and 3 losses, and suggesting that they're every bit the side, if not potentially better than what they were last year. So a big Saturday on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport. It starts with Carlton and Hawthorn from the MCG, Geelong and the Gold Coast Suns from the Cattery, Adelaide and the Tearaway Demons from the Adelaide Oval in the twilight, the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda on Saturday night, and Freo and Sydney is the match from Perth. I'm Matt Clinch alongside Mark McClure. Sellers, welcome.
Hello, Clinchy. How are you?
I'm very well. I get the feeling you're a bit nervous as we come in. You see every Carlton fan and ask them how you think they might go today.
Oh, well, it's nice to talk to them. Nice to say hello. Nice to be part of what they're doing. And, I mean, they're playing against Hawthorn or rebuilding. And I'm pretty certain that Kane's looking for a competitive game. And I'm sure they'll give it because they were pretty good last week against a good side. Melbourne have won 10 straight or 9 straight or something?
9 straight.
So,
yep.
Gee whiz, that's a pretty good effort. And I just had a look at how many games we've played against the Tigers. We played Port, played Lions, played Dogs, played Melbourne. They're the top 5 sides in the competition. It might get a little easier today, hopefully. But no game's a snack in this business.
Mark McClure alongside Matt Clinch. You can join us 0437 774 774 is the SMS line. You mentioned the CEO of the Carlton Football Club, Kane Little's been good enough to come and join us on ABC Sport. Kane, thanks for your time.
No problems. Afternoon, Matt. Afternoon, Mark.
Good on you, mate.
Given Mark's asked everyone else, how are you feeling? You haven't had the best record against the Hawks, I think one of the last 15, so it's a good day to try and right that wrong.
I didn't know that stat, so thanks for reminding me.
Started on a positive.
Well, we've got a lot of boys out there, who wouldn't have played 15 games against Hawthorn, so I don't think that stat will bother them. And I think Mark summed it up well. You expect to see a really competitive performance, and I think he also articulated that we've played some pretty good teams and been in games for long periods. Today, a team in terms of where we're at, these are the days we sort of just got to get the job done. Simple as that.
So that's how you see it from a confidence level point of view. You've played some sides who have been top 8 sides, and now you get a crack against a team that, on paper, you should comfortably beat.
Well, on paper, as you read it on paper, but it never, or it doesn't always work out like that. But I mean, to your point about having played some good teams, Salah's just peeled them off. And probably when you looked at the fixture at the start of the year, you mightn't have saw the ladder sitting as it did now. But we've lost 6 games, and 5 of them have been to arguably the 5 better teams going around. And I think my view when I look at the ladder, I think those 5 teams are potentially a step ahead at the moment. I probably think there's 3 at the bottom who probably expected that's where they'd be at the start of the year. I probably think there's another 9 who are fighting for 2 spots in the 8. And I think that's where we're at. We're one of those 9 teams. At our best, I think we're good enough to be able to step out and above that group. Unfortunately, we just haven't been able to string 4 quarters together, and consistency is an issue. And when you've got a group just building cohesion, unfortunately that stuff happens. And I get the frustration from the members. I'm sitting there watching it too. No one's more frustrated than me.
Fitness levels. Some of the guys came, is Williams fit? Because there's questions about him. He's played on a half-back flank mostly in his life. He goes in the midfield. It's hard work in the midfield, running back and forward and back and forth. Yeah. Is he fit enough to do that?
Yeah, well, whether he's categorically fit enough to run that out for a game, I'm probably not the right person to ask. I think it's fair to say he had an interrupted pre-season. Sure. he was in the process of moving from Sydney. He had family in Albury. We had border closures. He had niggling injuries. He was up and back a couple of times because he wanted to be with the family over Christmas. And then he's had the sort of niggling calf. I think if Zach was sitting here and you said, "Hey, you're peak fitness," I think he'd say he's not. But we've got a great team in there led by Andrew Russell, and we're really confident that that they'll work on him and put as much work into him as you can while the season's actually operating and we're playing him at the same time.
You finished 11th last season, 7 wins and 10 losses in a challenging season in the hub. Have you seen the improvement? You mentioned Zach Williams there. You also picked up Adam Sard in the off-season. Have you seen the improvement that you wanted to see to try and take that next step and be one of those sides that competes in finals?
I think at our best this year, you can definitely see the improvement. And I think those areas that we're falling down, I can see what we're trying to do. I can see the structure Teague's trying to build. We haven't quite got it yet. That's what happens through these phases of learning. Teague's only coached, I'm not even sure he's coached 40 games yet. So in terms of building the way he wants to play, that takes time. As I said, when things are going well, it looks good. Unfortunately, we haven't got the consistency there for 4 quarters, and when it falls over, it can look bad.
Kane, you're at Richmond when they had their fumbly time at the start of about 14, 15, 13, 14, 15. Mm-hmm. How did it change? Tell us how it changed, and can you do the same sort of thing? Can this club do the same thing that they did?
Yeah, well, what they did is they stuck by the senior people around that club, and they were confident that they had the right people around the club, and they continued to show belief, and they were confident that they were on the right track. And to their absolute credit, they were proven to be correct. And I think it's a good lesson for everybody. And I don't want to go into other teams, but you look around the AFL now, and there's teams close to the top of the ladder who, people have been suggesting maybe they weren't on the right track the last year or two. They hung in there, and they've been able to peel out the top. So good on them. And I hope at some point that's exactly what we do.
Do you actually ever seek outside sources to help you with different things, like inside the club? That we're not all good at everything, and no one is, but people like leadership groups and bits and pieces, and how you teach them to get better as a person.
Yeah. Well, look, all of us within senior roles have people that we talk to help ourselves get better individually and to equally help us be able to improve our football club. So absolutely that happens.
It's good. It's what we need to do. Because you come in as a young man from somewheresville, and all of a sudden you come out as supposedly a really good person.
Yeah,
that's what it should be like.
I agree.
The similarities between Richmond and Carlton in terms of big Victorian clubs who have high expectations. Can you see similarities around supporters who are impatient, who want to see it today, and how you try and keep everyone committed and connected on the same page?
Yeah, look, I hate trying to compare clubs, but it's difficult not to. I mean, there's the quintessential big four that everyone talks about, and effectively there's 2 of them there, and both of them for long or extended periods didn't have any success, big supporter bases and high expectations, probably even more so at Carlton given the fact we've won 16 premierships. People like the man sitting on my left, played in premierships and went through eras where you were playing in grand finals every other year. The game's changed. The AFL have set rules up to ensure that doesn't happen. And
stop it.
Yeah, and I'd like to think we've now adjusted to that. I look around the club. I look at the senior people we've got in senior positions, both on and off the field, and I have great confidence. I look at the backbone of our list, both in our men's and our women's program, and I have great confidence. So now it's about being able to block out all that external noise, focus on your plan, and keep showing belief and confidence in those people.
Do you actually, you need to have a look at Harry Maguire, you need to have a look at Walsh, you need to have a look at Weathering, the youth of this group who are going to be the backbone of this football club for some time, the next 10 years or so. When do they start to be looked at in contract-wise and long-term ones?
Yeah, well, I think it's fair that probably only fair you throw Charlie Curnow in there. He's the same age group. We haven't seen him for a while.
If he turns up, he might be okay.
Yeah, well, Charlie and Weeders are they're both extended out for multiple years to follow. Harry, he's obviously in his last year at the moment, and it's really exciting when you watch a potential star emerge before your eyes, and I think that's what we've seen this year with Harry. And ultimately we've prepared for that from a TPP perspective, and we have no reason to think that Harry won't be a long-term Carlton player. And the other one I think you mentioned was Sam Walsh. Sam's contracted for next year as well, and when the time's right, no doubt Nick Austin will start talking to his management group. But I have great confidence in that group, and I don't fear that any of them are looking elsewhere. I think they can see what I can see, and I think it's going to be a really exciting place to be around.
The voice of Carlton CEO Kane Little with us on Grandstand AFL. You mentioned TPP there, and there was obviously a fair bit of media reporting around Patrick Cripps. Is his deal close enough to done?
Look, as I've said a number of times, our message from his management group is he hasn't been and won't be speaking to anybody else. He has told us on numerous occasions how much he loves the club, how committed he is to the club. There's been ongoing discussions with his management group, and I expect at some stage in the very near future that there'll be an announcement. I'm supremely confident that deal will get done.
We've seen some of the stars of the game demand 5-year plus contracts. What's the club's approach in terms of trying to get the balance right with some of the leaders of the club who you hope will be around for a long time?
I think balance is the key word there. So in terms of a term and the monetary commitments that a club makes, it's about balancing those out. So they're all discussions that are going on with Patrick and his management group and obviously our list management team. But we have felt all along that in terms of the discussions we've been having, they've been very balanced and very fair.
And the other one on that conversation would be Harry Mackay, who's leading the Coleman medal. I'm sure there's a lot of clubs who would be ringing to find out if he is gettable. How confident are you that he'll be in the navy blue next year?
Oh, look, again, you speak to Harry, he couldn't be any more happy at the club, very confident in the direction we're going. As I said, he's emerging before everyone's eyes and he deserves to be rewarded for that. And we've catered for that in our planning. And as I said, Nick Austin will again work through that with his management group.
Kane, the coaching area which we look at and as part of the football department, we see other clubs like Goodwin puts in Choco Williams and Alan Richardson and really help them with what they've done. And then you've got Noble with Paul Roos who comes in and does a little bit there. And then you've got Don Pike who went to Sydney to help John Longmire. And you can see the difference in having two of those who have actually coached at the highest level. Is that a chance for the Blues to do?
Look, we've got some very senior assistants who provide Teague great support, as it's now been widely reported. Teague's got a great relationship with John Worsfold, a premiership coach, who he's lent on as a mentor, and we chose to make that official because we really wanted Woosha to be able to spend some time in and around the club. And unfortunately, when you've got a premiership captain and coach, it's very difficult to get him into your club and around your club without people starting to ask questions. So it was better to be transparent that he's in an official mentoring role, and we wanted him to be able to provide some feedback, not only to Teague based on Teague's questions, but equally on his observations. So we're really confident we've got great support around David. Look, I'll get on the front foot about some of the commentary around us potentially speaking or looking to speak with other individuals, whether they be coaches or other administration roles. I think if you listen to the commentary at the moment from the coaches, I sort of think blind Freddie can see that something needs to give in the soft cap. We've been cut back by 40%. The expectation hasn't diminished. The focus from the media certainly hasn't slowed. I think everyone accepts, the AFL included, that needs to be reviewed. So if there's going to be extra resources available, then I'd be disappointed if Brad wasn't out there scouring all areas of the football department to see what was available, because if there is extra money available, we sort of want to be at the front of the queue. So in terms of who we are or aren't speaking to, as I said, we genuinely believe there'll be scope for us to start adding back into the football department next year, and I think 17 other clubs would agree with that. So no doubt Brad, will be out there having a look at what's available.
So the CEOs have talked to the AFL about that?
I think it's been brought up. Primarily, I'm hearing it being brought up by the coaches. We've got a CEOs conference early this week. Certainly some CEOs have been far more vocal on it than others, and to be fair, they've probably been CEOs of the bigger clubs who are going really well, with a really mature, established football department that's performing well. To just rip 40% out of that overnight was incredibly difficult.
It's interesting because I think you'd have more power than the coaches do, because the coaches sometimes complain about things and complain about this and complain about that, and then all of a sudden they complain about this and they go, well, we're not doing that anymore, you know what I mean? If you understand where I'm coming from?
I do understand what you're saying, yeah.
Justin Leppage's name is a name that's been mentioned, so do you feel like you'd like that person to be a senior person who could support David?
Yeah. On multiple times publicly, I've stated that at Carlton we want players, coaches and administrators to feel comfortable they can speak to our club, and those conversations will remain between them and the club, and therefore we don't speculate on who we may or may not be speaking to. So you could throw 100 names at me now, and unfortunately I'm going to give you the same response on all of them. What I will say, and as I've already mentioned, is I'd be disappointed if Brad Lloyd, given our expectations that there will be some more room created in the soft cap next year, wasn't out considering who was out there and what opportunities that could do to improve our football department.
So he should be. And actually we spoke to Don Pike last week, and Don Pike said a really good thing, I think. He came in and he said, I'm there to help John.
Yeah.
Not to take his job, but there to help him, to help grow these kids, and they've done a great job with the youth.
They have. Yep, full credit to them.
Yeah.
Kane Little, the Carlton CEO, is with us on Grandstand AFL. The recruiting has obviously been one of the challenges for Carlton when you have been a side that's been down the bottom of the ladder. So trying to get games and opportunity into high draft picks, the likes of Sam Walsh and a Paddy Dow alongside some of the senior players. Do you feel like Carlton have done that well over the last couple of years, and are you seeing enough from the youth, which you've invested a lot in?
Yeah, we certainly went to a number of drafts there and brought in a lot of top 10 draft talent. I don't think there's any dispute. We pivoted that focus in the last couple of years, last year in particular, to a more balanced approach where we now needed to target players for individual roles and start bringing them in. Probably one thing I have noticed, this is my fourth season at Carlton now, the efforts or the attractiveness of our club now to players at other clubs is far greater than it was 3 or 4 years ago. And that's not potting anybody or pointing a finger at anybody. That's just the fact that we had to go through the hard times, and you're not all that attractive when you're going through that. The reality is, I think most people can now see there's a lot that's going right, and there's a lot of young talent there, and there's great hope and great belief. So we're probably finding it easier in those conversations with players that we're targeting now than we were 3 or 4 years ago.
Is it still one of the overall challenges, though, about trying to pick the right player that fits your system and the style of players you need, rather than sometimes the best young talent which can be available at the draft?
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and that's what we're doing now. And Teague, one of the things we love about him, he's a very attacking coach. He wants to play entertaining football, and I think if you look who we brought into the club last year, it was really to support that way of playing.
And we like watching it too. So people do. That's how you get your money on Channel 7 and all the other ones as well.
Yeah.
The financial side of the club, I know this is probably the stuff that the CEO gets asked a lot about, the running of the club, even though Mark's crew would probably prefer to focus on the 2 to 5 on game day. But financially, how's the club going with the support of the AFL off the back of COVID last year? And you've had the redevelopment of Princes Park as well.
Yeah. I draw a really strong link between what happens off the field and 2 to 5 on a Saturday, because history will tell you that generally clubs who get their off-field right and can maintain that for a sustained period and maintain their investment in their football program generally get the results. And unfortunately, success is a lag indicator of getting that right and that investment. Look, the off-field stuff, and again, I need to give credit to our members here. What they did for us last year was just incredible. And we're in the strongest financial position we've been in for a long time. I mean, we paid our debt off this year coming out the back of a pandemic. That debt had been there for 25 years. We're now debt-free. We've got record membership. We've got a full suite of sponsors. We've got a $50 million master plan of Icon Park, which is now halfway through. So I sort of look back 3 years ago, you got $7 million of debt and an ageing facility. You know, this time next year, we should have a $50 million facility fully paid off on the balance sheet, no debt, and potentially a couple of $1 million there. So the off-field stuff, largely thanks to our members and the great support of our corporate partners, it's in great shape.
Kane, now it's time to work on the 2 to 5.
You're right. But
well, he's right.
But the ability to continue to invest, and it's little things, Mark. Like you know, when you're crippled with debt and
$7 million is not a small number.
It isn't. When you get asked for your fixture request, you're focused on is getting the biggest games to keep the doors open. Once you've got that stuff paid off, your focus changes. So when you get asked for your fixture request, you think about it very differently. So there's a lot of little 1%ers people wouldn't understand, whereby getting the off-field right, it really does help the on-field.
No, we're really proud of what you've been able to achieve as a group of people in there, and we understand that. But the bloke can't go home every Saturday afternoon and brag to his mates how good his team is.
No, he can't.
That's the
problem.
I couldn't agree more. That's what, and we're on the path of that. And you got to know where you're at first before you actually can go forward.
Mate,
and we all understand that.
I couldn't agree more. And this is the most difficult part of the journey,
I
because
agree.
this is the bit where everyone can see you're capable.
I know.
So they get the shits up when you don't deliver.
Actually, we're on the ABC. I don't know if you noticed.
and I get it. And I feel the same. And when you're not going so well and you're not delivering, the expectations are lower. The expectations are higher, and therefore the focus is greater. And when things don't go right, it's a lot louder. We get that, and we accept that.
I've got one little question for you. Can you see some youth growing as the leaders in this club? I know Walsh is one,
yes.
and he's a really energetic bloke, and he challenges and does all that. Is that happening amongst the group?
I couldn't be any more definitive in that answer. If I look at the likes of Jacob Wiedering, Harry Mackay, Sam Walsh, Charlie Curnow, I think about those boys from what I saw 4 years ago to what I see now. That leadership is growing by the day, and I think Andrew Russell, who runs all of our high performance, but also is instrumental in working with our leadership group, is doing a great job in terms of developing those leadership capabilities and that ability to challenge each other, which is critically important.
Oh, I think it's unbelievably important because the ageing ones are almost done if we come to that area, and they're going to take over. And what are they going to do? They're going to push each other. They're going to shove each other, and they're going to make certain that they work harder and get fitter and tougher and stronger. And that's how it should be.
Agreed.
Couple of quick ones to finish with, Kane. I think it was 3 years ago your women's side played off in a grand final at the Adelaide Oval. It was a record crowd. Reports yesterday that Taylor Harris is set to part ways with the club. Can you inform Carlton fans making their way into the MCG what the latest is there?
Well, I'm probably a little bit disappointed how it's been reported because it's sort of been reported without the important facts. And in women's football, you have 4 tiers of players. Each club's allowed to have, I think it's 2 tier 1s who get paid roughly $35,000. So that's your best players to play football. On top of that, you're able to employ the girls in certain roles around the club, and you're able to pay additional service agreements. Now, in the instance of Taylor, we actually employed Taylor like we employed many other people last year. Unfortunately, as COVID hit, we were forced to cut back our staff team, cut areas such as our NGA, which was significantly reduced by the AFL. So in terms of the contract sum, it's made up of a number of things. And yes, unfortunately, we weren't able to get to the same levels that we'd been able to get to in the past. And as a result, we fully understand and appreciate Taylor and her management's opportunity to be able to look elsewhere. And I do agree. Taylor's manager, Alex Saundry, mentioned in the paper that Taylor is worth a lot for what she delivers outside of football. I don't dispute that. Where we're at right now, I want to see premiership medals around Darcy Vesio and Karen Harrington and others next. So our entire focus is on field and winning premierships, and as a result, that's where our focus is.
So that has to be an incredibly tough and delicate process to balance the off-field promotion of the game with the on-field and the success, because you can't be paying extra money for someone to promote the game if they're not delivering on-field.
Yeah, it is. It is incredibly difficult, and I think, and Taylor, by her own admission, would agree she didn't have her best year this year. And as a result, and given how things have unfolded, and given the not unexpected interest from other clubs, which would be out there for a 3-time All-Australian, we've just got to accept that that's the way it's going to unfold.
Is it taxing on the money to run the girls, or is it making money for you?
Well, it depends. Short-sighted people would simply look at the ins and the outs and say it doesn't work, whereas people with a bigger picture in mind would think, well, it's actually helping build your membership, it's helping build a future supporter base for you, it's attracting additional corporate interest. But the other thing for us is, I talked about that redevelopment of Icon Park.
Sure.
Well, that's largely been done with the support of government, who genuinely believe that Icon Park can be the home of the best AFLW games, but equally understood and agreed with our commitment to gender equality. And I'm really proud to say that 3 weeks ago we opened our brand new football department with a brand new set of men's change rooms next to a brand new set of women's change rooms, same size, same quality, same everything. So from my perspective, I look at that contribution from the government and think, well, that doesn't come about either without your support and involvement in women's football.
Kane, thank you very much. You've been fantastic. You've given us a whole lot of stuff that we didn't really understand or know. I think that people out there listening is more the point for us, for you and your club, that, gee whiz, there's someone in charge who has some idea what they're trying to do, and what you said today was really good.
Good on you, Kane. Thanks very much for coming up.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Kane Little, the CEO of Carlton, joining us on No Excuses. The full call coming up. Adam Ramanauskas and Alan Nicholson to jump in. There is that one late change for the Hawks with Liam Shields out. So the Hawks making one late change and Daniel Howe coming in. Honey and Morris, the substitutions for this afternoon's catch. What a magnificent day, to quote the late Drew Morford, at the MCG for this autumn day with the sun beating down and a crowd expected of close to 40,000 for the Blues and the Hawks on Saturday afternoon footy. The Blues just need a win in any way possible. The Hawks would love to continue the upset. Stay with us on Grandstand AFL.
What matters to you?
Justice, family, weather,
the region,
safety.
What affects you?
Climate,
weather,
extinction,
bushfire,
violence, protest, water over the road.
What inspires you?
Sport, results,
rescue,
goals,
space,
future, country, laughter.
Stories matter. trust matters. What matters is you. And what matters to you matters to us. ABC News on your TV, radio, iView or the ABC News app.
ABC Sport. AFL.
Get set for the deafening roar. The pent-up emotion is about to flow.
Listen to the crowd roar.
AFL.
Fans are on their feet. Can't believe what they're about to see.
The 2021 AFL Premiership Season.
Grandstand AFL.
We've got a game on our hands here. This is really good, fierce stuff.
This is a fantastic game of football. Someone told me there was something wrong with our game. I can't see it today. Actually, it's a spectacular contest.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Oh, the impossible angle!
Sinners, keep on sinning.
Don't go anywhere. The theatre of it all.
Winners, keep on winning.
And he dribbles one through and blows a kiss to the crowd.
Just a new day beginning.
Breaks the paint, has a shot, makes no mistake.
Sends it to home, a sublime strike.
Hard against the boundary, that's a classy finish.
That is sensational. Can he slide it through for the finish? Yes, he can.
Wide angle on the paint of 50. May have just snuck through an incredible goal. Tries the fend off, got him, takes him to ground. Back to that Nui, second don't argue.
Go to your best players, go to your match winners.
Plays on, man down from behind, holding the ball.
Perfect tackle.
It might be a game saver.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Ricochets to Martin, you know the rest. The razzle-dazzle has arrived.
That is spectacular.
It's a new day, new day, new day beginning.
Oscar Burton kicks the goal. Welcome to the big time.
Oh, the great mark.
Outside of the boot, Eddie. Oh, he has kicked it. Makes no mistake. Goes back.
Straightens up towards goal and brings it back superbly. Here's that familiar roar. Double fist salute to the crowd. They might have a new fan favourite. He'll snap, he'll go. A ripper from Gripper. Snaps off the single step and bounds it through.
Grandstand AFL.
The 2021 AFL Premiership Season.
Dribbles it through and ends the game.
On ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
In a season that is yet to reach the heights hoped for, Carlton has what looks like a non-negotiable game against a rebuilding Hawthorn at the MCG on a Saturday afternoon. Hello, great to have your company. A spectacular scene here in Melbourne, not a cloud in the sky. It's a magnificent day for football at the home of football, the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Carlton and Hawthorn, one late change for the Hawks. Liam Shields is out of the side. Daniel Howe comes in. Josh Morris, the medical sub for the Hawks. Josh Honey is the medical sub for Carlton. The Blues are 3 and 6 in 13th position on the table at the moment. Hawthorn 2 and 7 in 17th position. Alistair Nicholson to call the action for you alongside Matt Clinch. Good afternoon, Clinchy.
Hello, Al. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to our listeners. Nice to be back on a Saturday afternoon, even if it's not quite the most popular slot anymore that it's been debated throughout the week. But we still know a lot of our listeners tune in on Saturday afternoon as they're out and about. Well, the stage is set, isn't it? Kane Little said, really, on paper, this is a game Carlton you'd expect to win, and yet Hawthorn have only lost to Carlton once in the last 15 years. So psychologically, it might be an interesting afternoon for some Blues fans who mightn't be fully sold on the fact that the club is building and heading in the right direction. So Carlton obviously have lost to a lot of top 8 sides. So today's a chance to get a swing at it, and we'll see in the front row as to how they go this afternoon with no excuses at the MCG on a beautiful day.
Yeah, absolutely. The recent history, certainly Hawthorn's way. They won 17 of the past 18 against Carlton, including 14 in a row at one point as the Blues make their way out onto the MCG. If you go way back in history, when Hawthorn first came into the VFL in 1925, they did not win a game against Carlton until 1938. So they lost 25 straight against the Blues. So there have been a series of runs that these two teams have had against each other, and then that run of finals, 8 finals between the two from 1982 to 1988, 86 and 87 grand finals.
The old 80s, don't we,
yeah,
today?
Absolutely. Sellers was the captain of the Carlton team during the 80s when they were coming up against tough Hawthorn sides. Here he is on a Saturday afternoon, hoping that his former side can produce something against the Hawks. Sellers, hello.
How are you, guys? As I said before, these guys have lost to maybe the top 5 sides, really, and that's been their big thing, and that's where they've lost their games. It's 6 games out of what they've done so far. So let me tell you, there's a chance that they could win this, and they need to win this because to keep them a chance to get into the finals. The 86 one, Al, I was captain at, and we never looked like it from start to finish. Fair dinkum. Robert Walls has never forgiven us and bashed us ever since. And but anyway, look, that's been a great rivalry between those two clubs. We played in the grand finals and lots of things together. But that was a million years ago. This is now. This is different. And listening to Kane Little before, I was really happy we got him on. He was honest, straight, and really powerful in the sense of how he fixed trying to get the club up. But now we know about the 2 to 5. And I'm certain that in some stage he'll be able to work that out as well. So because he's worked out a lot of other things as well in that way.
For our listeners in South Australia who missed No Excuses with Clinchy and Mark McClure, that interview with Kane Little, the Sellers puts him through his paces, will be posted on the ABC Radio Sport website, so you can take a listen to it there. There's another match down at Cardinia Park that will keep you across today as well, with the Cats and Suns going around. They kick off around about 25 or so minutes after this match at the MCG. Adam Ramanauskas, hello to you.
Yes, good afternoon, and it's still a beautiful afternoon here in Melbourne. What a day for football for these teams. Round 10, Sellers, and it's not a cloud in the sky. It's
beautiful.
It's almost 20 degrees in Melbourne, which is almost unheard of for this time of the year. But obviously, Sellers spoke with Carlton, but I'm looking forward to see what response Hawthorn can have. Last week, obviously, against North Melbourne, a really disappointing game for Hawthorn and Hawthorn supporters, and particularly through the middle of the ground. They were smashed through the middle of the ground. They've got some really good players there. So I want to see the response there. It's one of Carlton's great strength is the middle of the ground. Obviously, Sam Walsh and Paddy Cripps, but Hawthorn with O'Meara, Tom Mitchell, a Brownlow medalist, Benny McAvoy, Warple, a best and fairest there at Hawthorn. I want to see what sort of response we're going to see from the Hawks.
Yeah, Rammer, I just think that when you walk away from there down at Launceston last week, I mean, Clarkson would have been very upset with what happened. I'm sure he'd be shaking them this week and working them over. And that's why it's going to be a difficult game for the Blues, because they'll be hard at it and trying to show their ways. They've got some good, strong, big boys in this team. Moore, Lewis, Kaczynski, Frost, Hartigan. They've got a big side, huge side in a sense. McAvoy, Hanahan, Hanrahan, or Hank, what is it?
Yeah,
Hanrahan.
That's it.
Yeah, Hanrahan's huge. He's a huge boy as well. So all that, and McAvoy in the middle of the ground. So they have got a monstrous side, and they're building for the future, and we all know that. Picked up a couple of other players around the place, but they haven't performed very, very well at all. And I'm sure that Clarkson's smart enough to get themselves out of this sort of way in the next couple of years. And going back to that 86 grand final, I got a tap on the shoulder straight after it and said, you better get going. Anyway.
It would have tipped the pride of someone like Alistair Clarkson, who's achieved so much in the game.
Yeah.
And they've given their first win to North Melbourne. I think they gave Adelaide their first win last year as well. So
he's a generous bloke, that Clarko, isn't he?
I think they're realistic about where they are, but you'd have to be frustrated on a competitive level, if nothing else.
He was very respectful to North Melbourne last week, Alistair Clark. He said, look, it would be a huge disrespect for me to say that North Melbourne are not a good team today, because simply they outplayed us today. And he was honest about that. I think that was a message to his team rather than to North Melbourne. So
we saw them against Collingwood, and you could see what they're trying to do, but they just couldn't execute it properly. They only got beaten by 20-25 points or something, so there was a pretty good effort there.
But here's the question, Sellers, then. You look at Hawthorn and you say to yourself right now, what are they trying to do?
Well, you've got to know where you're at for a start, and I think Clarko knows where they're at.
So with North Melbourne, like you said, you can see they're trying to get that defensive side of their game right. They're trying to be hard to play against. Right at the moment, it's hard to understand what the identity of Hawthorn is and what is their playing style. Now, everybody will talk about structures and the like and all this, but what are you? Are you a running team? Are you a defensive team? Are you a complete lockdown team? Are you a high-scoring team? What is it?
I don't know, because he probably doesn't know what they're good at either, because there are a lot of young kids in there, and sometimes you just got to build in some areas. Okay, let's work on the defence first, and then we'll work on scoring. Got to work on one or the other. But when their midfield got knocked over with O'Meara and Mitchell and those sorts of guys, Warpole and that, that's the strain for them.
Right.
That's the killer.
Yeah, that's right, because that's where they see their strength within their team, within the middle of the ground. So
I wouldn't underestimate him, I can tell you.
So then how can Carlton expose that today? Obviously, Paddy Cripps is that big body that we know. He's been a bull around the contest for so long. Is he able to continue to expose that weakness within Hawthorn at the moment? Sam Walsh is turning into one of the stars of the competition before our eyes. Is he able to get off the chain again and show his running power? Harry Mackay has been terrific for the Blues so far this year. Can he get off the chain?
Actually, better than terrific, I reckon. Yeah. I reckon he's the rising star. He's almost a Buddy Franklin in a sense, the new Buddy Franklin with his speed and height. And he kicked a goal from outside 50 that nearly went over the fence. It was unbelievable.
The most impressive thing with Mackay last week is he got the knock.
I know. Yep.
It's been a criticism of him. He gets a knock and then you don't see him for the remainder of the game. Last week, it was a good knock on the shoulder. He got back out there and he was still able to perform.
No, I was very proud of him because that shows the character of the boy.
Shows resilience.
Yeah.
Tried a couple of questions that came little about Harry Mackay and Paddy Cripps, just the future of the club, and if either of them would leave, it would leave questions around it.
No doubt.
Not sure we got anything between back Pad. He was far too front-footed and just blocked them away.
He might be a bit good for us, I reckon. We might have to bring in some recruits.
I was expecting more of the short stuff from you, Sellers, just quietly. 0437
I wanted him to talk to the people out there. This is what it was about for us. We rang him. I rang him up and said, listen, come on and we'll talk to your people about where we are at as a footy club. And I thought he did a good job.
0437 774 774 is the number if you'd like to get in touch with us. One of our listeners says, Sellers, you took it easy on Kane. The truth of it is we have been promised results for the last 10 years, yet we are still
20.
a bottom 8
You got that wrong.
Why, oh, why are they still playing Jack Silvani, says an unnamed listener. He cannot convert from the minimal amount of touches. He might be a good VFL player at Blast.
I actually disagree with that.
I disagree too.
I think he's been... This year, he's had some injuries, but when he's played this year, he's been really important.
Competitive.
Yeah, competitive, hard. He adds a difference to that Carlton forward line.
You don't have to be a star in this team.
One of Corby's favourite players. He was right over the stat. He's played in 4 games. He's been subbed out in 4 games. You've got to be real attention to detail to pick up that kind of stuff.
Let's hope that trend doesn't continue today. Send us a text, 0437 774 774. Remember to give us your name and where you're listening, and we can attribute the text.
So the key for Carlton today is defending. That's been the issue now for a number of years. We know they give up 5 goals in a row more than any other team within the competition. When are they going to learn their lesson on that? I think that's when when teams are learning their lesson quickly, that's when you know they're going to improve quickly. Carlton make the same mistake, so that's why they are where they are.
Kane actually said it when he was talking to us. He said David is an attacking coach.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it's okay. But then again, your forward line, the defence starts in the forward line. It doesn't start down the back. It starts in the forward line and the midfield. And once you let it through, you're in trouble. And that's what they do a lot.
Malcolm Blight was an attacking coach.
Hawthorn are not a high scoring side.
I don't think it was any DNA.
Kevin Sheedy was probably more of an attacking coach than a defensive coach.
Hawthorn are not a high-scoring side, so if you're ever going to practice what you want to preach, it's probably easier against the bottom 4 sides than it is the top 8 sides. So really interested to see how Carlton go defensively today.
And of course, the best player on the ground today will get the David Parkin medal. And Parko is such a cherished member of our ABC Grandstand AFL team, a premiership captain at Hawthorn. He'll be here for
I rang him this morning. He was getting ready. Wasn't sure which medal club function he was going to go to.
Was he get lost?
Three-time premiership coach at the Blues as well, David Parkin. Good afternoon, team. As a Hawthorn supporter, I have always seen 2 of you as natural enemies. Today, I add Agent 22 to the list, says Jeff in Cannons Creek. So
Agent 22. Oh, 22. Okay.
Yeah.
Maxwell Smart.
The Maxwell
86.
Smart themes. We're taking you back there again, Sellers.
Yeah, we'll get there. I'll let my phone off.
It's very hard for me to tip either of these teams today. Because it's just...
There's not a lot of affection there, Rama?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't really care what you think.
That's right.
Park your allegiances.
Right. That's why Sellers and I sit so far apart.
Why don't you just go to the pitches or something? Go somewhere else, you know.
Sellers will go one out today. I'm not sure that would be the best listen for our Hawthorn audience out there.
Oh, no.
We hope you enjoy the coverage on Grandstand AFL. The scene is perfect. MCG, Saturday afternoon football, sun shining, no clouds in the sky, and 2 fairly fierce rivals about to go at it as well. Carlton and Hawthorn repeating that one late change. Liam Shields is out for the Hawks. Daniel Howe comes in. Jager O'Meara and Paddy Cripps having a push and shove in the middle. Cripps has had enough with O'Meara. Now he goes to Warple and does the same. Perhaps that's the tone for the day. Here's the tones of Matt Clinch on Grandstand AFL.
So Ben McAvoy is going to start forward, and Ned Reeves in his first game is going to start in the middle of the ground. Up against Mark Pitnet to get things underway. Saturday afternoon footy from the MCG, and we're underway. Beautifully straight bounce, which favoured Reeves, who wins down the tap. Warple couldn't take it, knocked forward by Cousins. Over Pitnet comes over the top, and Paddy Cripps gets the hand pass away. GF can't get a disposal. Warple can, but he's penalised holding the footy.
Ball. Yeah.
And the final member of our team is Roger Aldridge in the front row. Welcome, Rog.
Yeah, Clinchy, good to be here. What a magnificent day, as you've mentioned already. If it was raining, I would have subbed someone else in to do this. But
Doherty long inside the 50. Decisive fist away from Hardwick into the right pocket. Right forward pocket. That's at the City end, in which the Blues are heading. And it goes out of play. 30 metres around from the Carlton goal.
So first opportunity for a score here as it's thrown in. Pitnet flicks it to the back. Walsh goes after it. Couldn't get a hold of it. Taken in defence for the Hawks. Little hand pass came out of the pack from Cousins. O'Meara gets it, tackled by Doherty. They lose the ball. Williams of Carlton kicks to the edge of 50. Curnow, not 15. Bangs inside 50 and he's taken heavily after he did so. No, it's a retaliatory free kick going against Curnow, is it? No, downfield. Okay, that's the signal.
Yeah.
Thought the umpire was signalling the other way for a moment. Eddie Betts.
Yeah, gets his hands on the ball early.
He ran to it.
Oh, no doubt. I would too, Sellers.
Wayne Johnson used to run from half-back flank to get there.
But it's amazing what it does for your confidence if you get an early touch or an early goal. You know, we're a minute and a half into this quarter only. You may kick Carlton's first.
1-3 last week against the D's. That was in rainy, windy conditions, and Eddie in the perfect conditions gives Carlton the perfect start. The Blues won straight. Hawthorn yet to score. We've played 90 seconds.
And it is important for that to happen for Eddie. Obviously, he was pretty good last week. And the week before, I think he kicked a couple of goals. Just looking at the matchups through the middle of the ground and how Hawthorn have started with their own centre bounce. Obviously, last week was really disappointing. You've got O'Meara in there who looks like he's going with Cripps around the contest. Warple's also in there. And then the other one is young Cousins. So a little bit of a change up. No Tom Mitchell in there at the moment. He's sitting on a half-forward flank as it stands. So a bit of a change in personnel for the Hawks.
He's a monster, that Reeves.
Yeah, Ned Reeves. He's the son of Chief Executive Justin, so former St Kevin's boy.
Easy way to get a game.
211 centimetres, the tallest ever Hawthorn player, Ned Reeves.
Pitnet wins down the tap for the Blues, but it's a chance for the Hawks to go forward. Cousins' high kick. It's a half-forward. Bruce in front position, couldn't take the mark. Onto it, Phillips. He's tackled by Walsh, and the umpire circles. And we'll ball it up at left half-forward, members' side, with the Hawks just short of attack. So McAvoy starting in attack with Kaczynski. Wingard's down there as well. As the umpire throws it up, Reeves wins down the tap, and straight to Cripps of Carlton. His underground hand pass looking for Walsh, intercepting it Phillips. The two tangle on the ground, and the umpire will throw it up once more.
Hi guys, Steve from Hobart tuning in. Have a great call. Thanks to you, Steve. Still stuck in traffic on the way to the G, but we love Jack Silvani, says Kelly and family. Hope you get here soon. Thanks for your text, Kelly and family in the car. Ball's on the wing, Hardwick in possession. He's tackled strongly and the ball has been lost. Carlton free kick, play on to advantage. No, Murphy told to come back. Fogarty the free kick for the Blues.
It's in front of the mark.
Members wing, very short pass, marked by Doherty. Doherty, a kick and a half from goal. Members side of the MCG. Carlton with the early goal, goes into the pocket, bouncing ball. Betts couldn't take it initially, then he soccers it. Up to his tricks, Eddie, but not executing this time. He tried to soccer it from hard on the boundary line, put it out of bounds on the full, and a free kick to Hawthorn in the left back pocket.
It's actually a poor kick into the forward line, to tell you the start. You didn't put any pressure on the opposition. Should have put it at the top of the square. McKay's killing them at this stage, and you don't execute properly.
Frost long out of defence. McAvoy flies, can't come down with a footy. Mark Murphy in front, crumbs. He's tackled immediately. 55 metres out from Carlton's goal. The Blues by 6 points. Tossed up. Pitnet removes his opposition ruckman and knocks it down, and then follows up by hacking a kick inside the 50. Dribbles towards Betts. He's second to the footy. Impey gathers for the Hawks to Jaff, who's tackled across the line by Jack Silvani on cue. And a throw in 45 metres out from the Blues goal at the City end.
Paul from Berrydale's painting a positive picture. Blues win today and they can still make the finals. 1 game out of the 8, says Paul. 0437 774 774. Hawthorn out of defence. Frost to Morrison, off to Hardwick. Hardwick kicks to the sunshine of the southern wing. Wingard there with Cottrell. Wingard kicks around the corner, bouncing ball. Kajitsky there, can't handle it near the boundary line. It goes over. 70 from the Hawthorn goal. The Hawks attacking the punt road end in the first quarter. Carlton won straight through the opening goal of Eddie Betts.
Boundary umpire just pausing for a moment or so before he throws it into a sun-drenched southern wing of the MCG. Reeves works his way to the front for Hawthorn, wins it down. Warple just tries to punch it forward to the advantage of Mitchell. He's tackled by Sard. Locks the footy to his chest, and the umpire's going to pay holding the ball. Was that Pryor Remmer?
No, definitely not.
Tackle counts 9-3 already to the Blues for tackles.
Sard inboard to Pitnet, to the run of Williams off half-back for Carlton. Kicks to half-forward. Silvani on a long lead, he'll mark at his chest. He's got Mackay and Betts inside the forward 50, both off a 1-2 leads. Goes for Betts, in the pocket, down low, couldn't get there. And Greaves gathers the bouncing ball, the young Hawk. Gets the hand pass away to Phillips, drives a kick up to the wing. Wiedering underneath it, good strong mark against Mitch Lewis, and he's off for the Blues.
Wiedering plays on, kicks towards the 50, it hangs in the air. Walsh won't be killed. He stood his ground, rode the contact from Impey and takes the mark, top of the 50. Walsh, who took the mark of the year with courage last year, back with the flight. Kicks inside the 50, Cripps the target, up he goes, can't mark it, ground level, Gibbons gets it. Ball comes out, Mitchell, hand pass for Hawthorn to Warple. Scrubby kick out of defence to centre half back. Wingard takes possession. Kicks to the southern wing. Kajitsky should gather on the bounce. He's confronted and brushes Williams. Hand pass to Wingard. Back flank, defensive hand pass. Warple kicks to the wing. And the mark's taken by Cousins. No, he dropped it at the last moment. Cop contact.
Good. Very good. Very
free
courageous.
Kick Hawthorn.
Courageous by Cousins going back. Jones made him earn it. Really good by the young player.
Centre of the southern wing, Cousins off the Blues, leading by 6, kicks towards half forward, Mitch Lewis in the back, Wiedering punched it down, straight to Ed Curnow, the hand pass to Walsh, who kicks in the middle of the ground, it's wide of Betts, spoiled away by Greaves, Walsh ricochets the bouncing ball well, gets the hand pass to Cripps, the Carlton captain's away on the members wing, 2 bounces, he gets the half forward, the footy almost didn't come back up, kicks to Silvani, dropped it, lunging forward at the last moment, Cripps goes in once more, I'll do it all myself, can't pick it up. Murphy sockers it into the corridor. Too sharp for Cottrell. And then the tackle from Walsh. Careful not to fall into the back. Is not penalised. The umpire will toss it up 50 metres out as Morrison is trying to break clear for the Hawks. 50 out from Carlton's goal. But the City and the Blues by a goal.
Third occasion Carlton have gone inside forward 50 in the first 7 minutes of this game. They've just missed that simple target.
Mitchell at the coalface at the stoppage. Defensive hand pass. Impey kicks to the half-back flank. Phillips tried to run onto it, just keeps it in play. Flashy fluoro green boots for Phillips, kicks to the wing. A one-on-one, Wiedering a post to Lewis. He's probably going to have a difficult afternoon with that matchup. Ball knocked out of play near the interchange.
Inside 57-1, Blues way.
Boundary throw in front of the Carlton dugout. Pitternet against Reeves. Pitternet the knockdown. Howe couldn't gather. Doherty did for Carlton. Hand pass to Walsh. Runs around the back. Dig kick, no good. Silvani gathers on the bounce, but under great pressure. Cousins wraps him up. A ball up. Slightly Carlton's attacking side of the members wing. The Blues by 6 points through 8 minutes.
Umpire tosses it up. Reeves and Pitnet go to work once more. Pitnet wins it down towards centre field. Bumped off it by Warple. Impey just jacks it onto the boot. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Good courage. Newman going back with the flight. Nudged away his opponent O'Meara to take it leaning back. At half back, kicks out to the members wing. Doherty takes the mark and further still to Fogarty. It's been a handy pickup for the Blues. Lockie Fogarty producing some career best numbers in his transition from Geelong.
Agreed. I think he's been one of the more underrated pickups of last year's trade period.
On board to Sard and now to Sam Walsh. There's not enough compliments for Walsh at the moment. So he goes short to centre field. Inside the centre square, but still short of half forward. Now the all-important kick inside the 50. Betts flew. Mackay at the back couldn't hang on to the mark. Owies is onto it. He's thrown to the turf by Hardwick. The ball jars free. A chance for Wingard. He overran the footy. Cottrell gathers. Gets the hand pass away to Gibbons. Kicks inside the 50. And Silvani marks on his chest. Just read the flight beautifully. He's directly in front, 15 metres out from goal.
There was some good work there by Cripps. Just pushing the other opponent out of the way. It was very simple. No one actually saw it, but they're starting to work for each other, which is a good idea.
Against the Western Bulldogs, injured that shoulder again in round 8. So he had been a goal kicker at the start of the season. A chance to get some reward for all of Carlton's work. Jack Silvani back in the lineup, back kicking goals. Carlton with their second, their 2 straight 12 to Hawthorn yet to score. 10 minutes gone opening term, and as Sellers touched on, the inside 50s 8-1 Carlton's way. Mark McClure and Adam Romanascus.
Yeah, they've got a couple of goals out of those 8 inside 50s. They've had more tackles than the opposition. They've really worked them over in the tackle count. Walsh has probably had 4 already on his own. He's dominating through the middle of the ground. I mean, Cripps' his little touch inside 50 there, he pushed his opponent out of the way, and it was an easy chest mark for Silvani. I like Jack. Jack's a hard worker. He's not the star player. He's not perfect in a lot of ways. He's not all those sorts of things. But gee whiz, he gets in the right spot, and he was then, and finished it off. I really like what he does.
So Carlton with the opening 2. Good signs early for the Blues. De Koning in ruck opposed to McAvoy of Hawthorn. Perfect bounce. De Koning rises, palms it down. Mitchell Sockers coming the other way. Scrimshaw lost possession. Walsh another touch for Carlton. Hand pass didn't hit a target. Morrison gets it. Off to Mitchell by hand. To Jaff, who kicks Hawthorn towards the half-forward flank southern side. Kazitsky bursting out, takes the mark on his chest.
Got some pace, that kid.
Jacob Kazitsky comes back infield to Mitchell. Mitchell, centre of the southern wing for the Hawks.
Blues leading by 12 points. He veers out to the left, and Mitchell kicks Hawthorn inside the 50. Big fly, Wiedering. Dropped the mark, though. Warple onto it, trying to slip out of the tackle, but he was taken high. And a dribbling kick from Hanrahan hit the post, so he's taken the advantage. Oh, that's bad from Hawthorn. It would have been a certain shot on goal, and they've given it up. Their first scorer behind. Carlton 2 straight 12.
So the Blues bring it back into play. Newman to Doherty. Doherty to Curnow. In front of the Olympic stand, kicks around the wing member's side. Mackay the target, off hands at the back, wingguard of Hawthorn. Off to Frost. Frost a high kick back to the wing. Howe and Jath are there for Hawthorn. Jath didn't mark, tried to tap it to Cousins. He loses it to Curnow. Hand pass to Betts, off to Newman. Carlton in possession, floating kicks, a poor one, intercepted by McAvoy near the AFL logo.
So big boy McAvoy starting forward, with Reeves getting his opportunity in the ruck for the Hawks. Feeds the hand pass to Hardwick. Long kick inside the 50. Wiedering flies, spoils it down to Koning with the hand pass to Murphy through the corridor to Walsh. Back to Murphy. Got it to De Koning. And Carlton are out at half back. Kicks to a vacant half forward line. McAvoy going back. Takes a comfortable uncontested mark, running back with the flight. Kicks back into the corridor. A chance for the Hawks to build through more.
Moore chips it out in front of Morrison. Trots along the edge of the centre square, outer side of the ground, kicks towards Lewis. It's too low for him. Williams getting back. He's got pressure from Hanrahan, but Williams escapes. Maybe not. He's caught. Got a hand pass to Jones in the goal square under the pump. Jones clears. Bouncing kick, a poor one. Hawthorn a chance. Moore for goal. Morrison for goal. Puts it through for the opener. Hawthorn's first. Harry Morrison kicks it. And the Hawks are back within 5 points on the back of Carlton skill errors. 13-minute mark first quarter. The Blues 2 straight. The Hawks 1-1.
He just ran himself into trouble there, Zach Williams. He wanted to take the game on, I understand that, but there's just no awareness around him where his opponent who was chasing was. Then he leaves it to Liam Jones, and Liam Jones is under enormous pressure. So he had to go and just try to blast the ball out of defensive 50. No Carlton player there inside. Morrison runs onto an easy ball inside forward 50 and kicks a goal, but that started with Hawthorn's forward pressure. Terrific by the Hawks. That's what you want to see more of, that more around the contest work. When they get the opportunity, chase, tackle, harass, creates opportunities.
Sarah's listening from the beach in Broome. Go Blues, do it for Parko, the legend, says Sarah. Thanks to you, Sarah, and yes, agree wholeheartedly around Parko being a legend.
Walsh gets the clearance for the Blues. To Koning, tackled by Morrison. Following up his good work from the goal. Little soccer from Murphy inside the 50 might work. Impey could have been held when not in possession. He was so. And the Hawks will take the advantage quickly. Mitchell with the hand pass in the middle to the runner, Bruce. Now where the kick is going, long towards Reeves, who's pushed forward. A hold. Which way? Carlton. As the umpire eventually does point. Liam Jones takes the free kick across the defensive goal to Wiedering. Let's head down to Roger Aldridge on the boundary.
Yeah, Zach Williams just came to the bench after that last goal. The doctor's just poking and prodding around his right knee. He looks to be in some kind of discomfort.
Carlton bringing the ball out of defence. Murphy a short pass to Ed Curnow. Southern side of the MCG. He kicks to Mackay, who rises and marks. Opposed to Moore on that outer side. Kick comes back infield now. Sard can't play on here, but he will move it quickly by foot to Stocker, running onto it. Couldn't mark, does gather. Front point of the square. High left foot floater inside the 50. Silvani pushed his opponent out. No free kick. Silvani takes possession. Yes, there is a free kick. A belated call. The out of zone umpire made that decision, and it was there. A free kick to McAvoy at fullback for Hawthorn. Carlton by 5 points through 15 minutes.
Kicks it wide out to Hardwick, who marks in the back pocket at the city end of the MCG. Waits for Scrimshaw to offer a lead. He marks still inside the defensive 50. So what do you made of the move, Rammer? McAvoy out of the ruck, trying to use him forward and behind the ball.
Well, he's in the ruck at the moment, so giving Reeves as much a chance as possible. But I like that because McAvoy reads it so well behind the ball, controls it.
Kick to the wing, Stocker picks it up at ground level, hand pass to Walsh, screws it towards centre half forward, over the head of Fogarty, and Hardwick juggles a good mark. And gets some afters as well. As he's dragged down by Ed Curnow, and that will be 50. So it'll take Hawthorn from half back to half forward. Roger Aldridge on the boundary.
Zach Williams now heading down to the rooms with a noticeable limp, so a bit of concern on the Blues bench down here.
Thanks, Rog. No one on the mark, so Hardwick can waltz into 50, gives the hand pass to Hanrahan from 45 metres out. He hits the post, into the right goal post. Carlton's lead is 4 points. They've had a few shots, the Hawks.
Yeah, they made a couple of mistakes there, the Blues, in a row. You can't make two in a row, you can only make one. And they didn't man the mark there. They actually, and Eddie Curnow gave away a free kick, another one. There's two in a row. You can't do that.
Wiedering advances about 20 metres and then sends a long drop punt towards the centre circle. Mackay up in front, nudged under the ball by Hardigan. That's a free kick.
Play.
Carlton plays onto advantage. Curnow kicks to Walsh, top of the 50. Goal unguarded. Walsh unselfishly to Owies, who marks and goals. He marked 2 metres out and popped it straight through for Carlton's third. The Blues 3 straight 18. Hawthorn 1-2-8 through 17 minutes.
And Sellers, you look at that kick in. Now with the mark having to come back 15 to the 15 metres, there's absolute no point in kicking sideways into the pockets now. So Wiedering there bangs it long to the middle of the ground. You get multiple numbers to that contest. He wins a free kick, can't play on. It's 3 kicks and then a goal. So 1 to Wiedering, 1 to Walsh, and then Owies in the goal square. 3 kicks to kick a goal. Really good play.
I'm surprised that they haven't done a lot more of that because they still do that chip kick 35
It's a waste.
metres. I agree with you totally. Go out wide and all of a sudden they push across and cover that side. To me, it's a no-brainer. If you kick the torp, just bang one down there. Bit of chaos ball. That'd be the go.
Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas with you on a Saturday afternoon. Just quietly, Al was getting a bit of reflection from the television next door. So Stu Baker had last week off. He's back. He's installed a curtain.
Yep. It's a tablecloth.
Pretty
so someone's eating without the tablecloth in the dining room, I reckon.
What can't this man do? I tell you, there's some renovations at our place at Liz's all over me. I might be chatting to Stu at the end. Cripps at half-back, gathers for Carlton, gets the hand pass away to Stocker, to Ed Curnow on the wing, through the hands of Doherty, who chips his ball short, and Setterfield takes the mark on the members' wing. Quickly kicks the ball to half-forward, Pittman underneath it, Betts at the back, juggled it, couldn't hang on to it at the last moment. Hardwick works his way to the front for Hawthorn, to Mitchell, to Jaff, great dash with the hand pass to Bruce, he could have given it back to him. Instead retreated back by hand to Mitchell. Drives a long kick towards Kajitsky and Jones. Jones spoils it down. Ed Curnow can't pick it up cleanly. Tapped it on and then becomes the tackler on Harry Morrison, but it was over the shoulder. And the Hawks are taken between wing and half forward on the members' side. Carlton by 10.
Morrison. Walsh. Intercepted by Walsh. It was a short kick.
Best on ground by a mile now, isn't he?
He works so hard defensively.
Great kick into the middle to Gibbons. Hand pass to a running Newman. His hand pass knocked down, but still Carlton comes up with it. Cottrell back towards Gibbons. Scrubby kick inside the 50. Owies picks up. Hardwick for company. 40 out. Dangerous kick to the teeth of goal. Up goes to Koning. He marks directly in front. 5 metres out from goal.
Well, they're certainly having their own way at the moment, the Blues, and that'll change at some stage. I mean, they'll knock down on Walsh for sure. They have to. Someone has to go and pick up him. But their run through the middle of the ground and their share and care for each other has been fantastic.
And they have 4 goals to show for it, the Blues. De Koning all smiles as he pops it straight through at the city end of the ground. 4 straight Carlton. Hawthorn 1-2-8 through 19 minutes. We'll go downstairs to Roger Aldridge.
Sam Frost came off the ground about 90 seconds ago with blood streaming from his head. I don't know what they use at Hawthorn, but I want some of it because he's ready to come back on already. And there was a lot of blood.
What are you saying, Rog?
I don't know. They cleaned it up nicely, Sellers.
You look at De Koning there taking that mark, and he looked like a key forward. I saw him in his underage days for the Dandenong Stingrays kick 9 as a bottom age player, as a 17-year-old. So he can definitely do that. And that's the beauty of having him in the team. You don't need to take him off the ground because he can go forward. He can be very, very capable down there.
Yeah, he's a pretty. They've been waiting for him for a while, and this is what Blues fans have been waiting to see.
He was drafted with Jacob Wiedering back in 2017, so they've had to wait a while to try and get a good run at it back in the AFL lineup after a back injury for his first game of the season. Mitchell breaks clear for the Hawks, gets the hand pass to Wingard. Oh, the bounce ricocheted off his shin and then he ran into side, couldn't break clear. The numbers win for Carlton as Newman gathers, kicks to the wing, out in front of Owies who tries to run onto it. Jaff with him for company, charging in from the side was Hardigan to lay the bump. Made a clear path for Jaff to gather and he kicks out towards half-back where Phillips should be able to gather. Doherty trails after him. Phillips around the members' wing towards Wingard, had to jump vertically with Ed Curnow, couldn't pull in the mark. And then he gets another go at it. Wingard hacks a kick forward, which opportunity works rather well for the Hawks as Cousins takes the mark, kicks inside the 50. Kaczynski the target.
Great mark, Jones.
Great juggling mark from Jones. 10 metres out from his defensive goal at the punt road end.
Down the corridor to Sard, and Sard's away. He elects not to bounce, pulls the trigger on a perfect kick to the bullseye and Owies. Owies will feed the hand pass to a running Cottrell. To the southern wing, kicks the half forward. De Koning waited. Spoil made by Hardigan, rove by Betts. Hand pass out in front of Gibbons. Gibbons with Impey. Jammed it on his boot, ricochets off Jath. Betts gets it. Grabbed by the shorts. Has a shot. Doesn't get it away. And they lock it in around Eddie Betts. 25 metres from the Carlton goal at the city end.
He got tripped.
Yeah, could have got one there, Eddie Betts.
The size 46 shorts might have cost him there. It comes the way of Setterfield, who fires on goal and misses to the left.
You implying you would have got the free kick if these shorts weren't like three-quarter length pants, Clinchy.
I'm just saying, back in Sellers' day, they were far shorter than what they are now. Carlton by 17.
He's still wearing John Nichols shorts.
They were big Sellers. He had very big tree trunk legs to get around.
That's the point.
From the kick in, it goes out to the half-back flank. And Cottrell's there for the Blues to see it out of play in company with Daniel Howe, who was the late inclusion for Liam Shields of Hawthorn. 17 points the lead to the Blues through 23 minutes. Toss back in on the southern side, Carlton's attacking side of the wing. Reaching over the top, Reeves drove by Curnow, knocked it out to Cripps somehow. Cripps kicks to half forward. Target was Mackay. Hardigan pushed off it by Mackay when it hit the deck. Mackay falls over, slaps it back into Betts. Hand pass to Pitnet, the big ruckman. No, it was out of play. No, a throw. Okay.
Oh.
It's coming back, so Betts deemed to have thrown that out.
Well, that's the only one they picked up for the year. Throws, there's about 50 a game, isn't there?
He thought he had the umpire blindsided, which is typically how the players do it. Greaves the free kick in the right back pocket for Hawthorn.
Long kick out of defence towards half-back. De Koning flew. Brought it to the front where O'Meara gathers. Feeds the hand pass back to Howe and now to Wingard. Long kick to the southern wing. McAvoy trailing Wiedering. Wiedering couldn't take it cleanly though. Hanrahan tries to spit out of traffic. Great tackle, Ed Curnow. Not rewarded. Umpire waves play on. The Blues still win it through Plowman. The hand pass to Cripps and now to Setterfield. Driving kick inside the 50. Mackay one-on-one with Hardigan. Hardigan brought it to ground. Betts came racing in. Locked up by Impey. Carlton still a chance. Fogarty gets the hand pass back. Cripps ridden into the turf. Umpire says he'll ball it up. 40 metres out from Carlton's goal.
Early in this game, Mackay has tried to wrestle with Hardigan. That won't work. Hardigan's a big, strong fullback. Mackay needs to lead at the ball. Start leading at the kicker.
Pitnet taps to the back. Betts goes through. Can't take possession. Frost is all patched up. Soccer's out of defence. Hanrahan to Wingard. Wingard, scrubby kick to the wing, cleverly tapped on by McAvoy, but no one home for Hawthorn. Running onto it, Jones. Jones kicks Carlton inside 50. Jath back with a flight, couldn't take the mark. It's on the ground, picked up by Reeves. Hand pass to O'Meara. Clearing ball towards the wing, southern side again. Cousins takes possession. Hand pass to Hanrahan was slick. He kicks to half forward. Koschitzky takes the mark. Open forward line. Bruce in the pocket. Kick goes in his direction and he takes the mark. He's 45 from goal to the right of centre. Down to Roger Aldridge on the boundary.
Good and bad news for the Blues. Zach Williams, although limping, is coming back on the ground now with his right knee strap. But Lockie Plowman has just come from the field. Williams replaced him, and he is battling as well with what looks to be also a leg injury. He couldn't get into a canter out there.
So Luke Bruce kicks from 49 metres out towards the punt road end. It won't be a goal. Pitnet sees it through for a minor score. Carlton's lead is cut to 16 points through 25 and a half minutes.
Walsh has had 12.
Yeah, he's had a lot of the footy. Tom Mitchell with 9, the next highest, as Newman brings the Blues back into play. Finds Zach Williams back onto the field, as Roger told you, with that right knee heavily strapped. Short to Gibbons, who has it on half back, and then into the corridor. Newman takes the mark. Plenty of loose players. Jones at centre half back takes the mark. He can play on. Then kick laterally to his key defender in Wiedering. It bounces in between he and Bruce. Bruce got the hand pass forward to Wingard. Here go the Hawks. 60 out. Kicks to the pocket. Koschitzky marks on his chest in the right forward pocket.
That's just one kick.
Jones.
One kick.
Should have gone long down the line, down the square. There was 2 or 3 on their own. He tried to chip a little pass sideways. It's not his go. Do the basic things well.
Just over finessing the footy maybe a little bit.
Yeah, just do the basic stuff right. You know, you don't have to be too clever.
So Jacob Koschitzky, who's kicked goals in 5 of his 8 games.
He knows about it.
For Hawthorn. Kicked a season high 5 against the Crows. Out to the right, 10 metres in from the boundary. Koschitzky from 35 metres out. Good kick. Great finish. So the Hawks pull one back as we nudge towards quarter time, and Carlton's lead is 10, 4-1-25 to the Hawks 2-3-15. On Grandstand AFL, you're that and Ramaskis and Mark McClure.
Well, Jacob's got a pretty good start this Kaczynski. He's got some sort of idea how he plays. I watched him a couple of weeks ago, and he's clunking marks, he's kicking goals, he's doing a good job. But that was a really poor effort by Jones. Had an easy ball, short kick to a sideways, he missed the target completely, instead of actually taking 50 metres out of it and putting down the other end into an area where there was 2 Blues on their own.
The issue there for Carlton, and this is where the criticism comes about their defence, is that ball turned over between Carlton's halfback flank and the wing.
Correct.
But when the ball turned over, if you look then into Hawthorn's forward line, it was wide open. Their defenders get too high up the ground. So if the ball turns over, they're very easy to score against.
Ready to attack.
Yeah.
It's been a theme of the year. Out of the middle, Ed Curnow gets it for the Blues. His hack kick towards the members' wing. Phillips should run onto it for Hawthorn. Collects. Goes with a short pass, and the mark's taken by Mitchell at the interchange gates. Tom Mitchell for possession number 10 in this first quarter. From near the boundary line, he kicks the Hawks inside 50. Lewis is in front of the pack. It's belted away by Wiedering. Rove by Fogarty. Broke a tackle. Missed the target with a hand pass. Ed Curnow wins a dribble kick. Creative along the ground in front of Walsh. Picks up near the interchange. Wants to feed a hand pass to Cripps. Delays it, now gives it. Cripps jams it on his boot. A spiralling ball around the boundary. Eddie needs to keep this in, or it might be insufficient intent. And Betts gets a hand to it, and it does go over the boundary line, 35 metres from the Carlton goal.
What was that rule? Insufficient intent
to keep the ball in.
Right,
yes.
Okay.
It's a mouthful.
I was just checking.
Thanks. Rule 11.3567.
I thought it might have been
Section
Rule
A.
1355.
That's only the first 6 pages of the rule sellers.
I know that.
Doherty off the stoppage, hand pass straight to Phillips of Hawthorn, off to Mitchell. He's under pressure, coughs it up by hand. Ed Curnow gives it to Murphy in the pocket. Squaring ball to full forward. A chance of a mark. A mark to Hawthorn. Well played by Scrimshaw, standing in between 2 Blues, Fogarty and Owies. He's got it at full back for the Hawks. They trail by 10.
It's looked better each game he plays. Jack Scrimshaw, the former Sun, kicks long to half back. Reeves was shoved out of it, and Wiedering takes the mark at the back of the pack.
He's taken some marks in the last few weeks, hasn't he?
Just so good in his aerial game. Long kick towards, well, De Koning couldn't get a run at the end. McAvoy pitched himself in front of Silvani and takes the mark. 35 metres out from his defensive goal. Ben McAvoy, the Hawthorn captain, plays on. Silvani runs at him. Kicks towards Morrison. Reeves provides to provide a block, and in the end Mitchell hacked it out of fresh air on the full, and that'll do us for the first quarter. 29 minutes and 55 seconds. The Blues got out by 17 points, but at quarter time lead by 10. 4-1-25 to the Hawks, 2-3-15. All individual goals coming through. Silvani, De Koning, Betts and Owies. Meanwhile for the Hawks, their goals have come through Morrison and Kajitsky.
Super to have you with us wherever you're taking in the coverage around the country on 0437 774 774. Hopefully Mark Murphy gets to 300 games, says one listener, and then seems to think that should be just about it. Around Silvani, he is a pretend AFL player, says Paul in West Melbourne. One of those who makes out he's doing enough by going in hard. Not good enough, I'm afraid, these days. Those types are good for VFL. There has been a bit of negativity around Jack Silvani, one of the goal kickers today. Peter from Hampton says, hello team, it was a very good discussion with Kane Little today. Cannot be there today, but go Blues, says Pete. Hi, we love the Saturday Arvo grandstand team.
What's the bloke's number from West Melbourne?
You want some positive feedback, Sellers?
Give me a second, Sellers. I'm sure he'd enjoy a call from you. Hi, we love the Saturday afternoon grandstand team, no matter which team is playing. Happy it isn't the Pies today. What are Mark's thoughts about being hoo-ha that interrupted a rival radio station? I don't know. Bleep, bleep, bleep. I don't care. Fran from Melbourne, I'm not sure what Fran's going with there. But
did you walk in another radio box before on air today? No, that doesn't sound like you.
No.
Fran, I keep very close eyes on Sellers to make sure we don't get in trouble like that.
It's probably the only week that he hasn't walked into a rival commentary box for a bit of a chat.
You went second day to Eddie Maguire though beforehand.
I did.
Wrestled the Collingwood.
I think that may be asking about my old teammate in Sellers.
Okay. Yes. From Howie in the ACT, Ripper call, go Blues, says Howie. So 0437 774 774. Yoshi's in North Hobart. What happened to the Hawks? Tackling needs to be much tougher, says Yoshi. Thanks for your contribution as well.
Just on that, they won the tackle count that quarter 17-14, the Hawks.
Good tackles?
There's some good ones. Yeah, their intent was, well, we'll talk about it after the break, their intent was much better.
So a quarter time, a 10-point lead to the Blues over the Hawks on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Get your beanie on and get among the plants with the June issue of ABC Gardening Australia magazine. Do great things with bromeliads. Check out top ideas for improving your garden and learn how to grow Whopper beets. And in ABC Organic Gardener, grow powerhouse spinach and quirky quince and pick up expert tips for planting a veggie patch. Gardening Australia and Organic Gardener magazines. Available from newsagents and abcmagazines.com.au.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
1-3 last week against the D's. That was in rainy, windy conditions, and Eddie in the perfect conditions gives Carlton the perfect start.
Cultural gathers, gets the hand pass away to Gibbons, kicks inside the 50, and Silvani marks on his chest. Jack Silvani back in the lineup, back kicking goals.
Jones clears, bouncing kick, a poor one. Hawthorn a chance, more for goal, Morrison for goal. Puts it through for the opener. Hawthorn's first. Carlton plays onto advantage. Curnow kicks to Walsh, top of the 50, goal unguarded. Walsh unselfishly to Owies, who marks and goals. Gibbons, scrubby kick inside the 50. Owies picks up. Hardwick for company. 40 out. Dangerous kick to the teeth of goal. Up goes De Koning. He marks directly in front. And they have 4 goals to show for it, the Blues. De Koning all smiles as he pops it straight through at the city end of the ground.
Bruce got the hand pass forward to Wingard. Here go the Hawks, 60 out. Kicks to the pocket. Kajitsky marks on his chest in the right forward pocket. Kajitsky from 35 metres out. Good kick. Great finish.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Quarter time at the MCG. Carlton 4-1-25. Hawthorn 2-3-15. Down the highway, Geelong taking on Gold Coast at Cardinia Park, and we'll keep you across this throughout the afternoon. Only the early stages there. They've been going for 8 minutes of that contest, and Geelong has the opening goal of the game against the Gold Coast Suns. Hawkins, the goal kicker. Geelong won straight. Gold Coast yet to score. Later today, Adelaide and Melbourne from the Adelaide Oval, and 2 games tonight, the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda. Fremantle versus Sydney from the West. Roger Aldridge is manning the boundary this afternoon. Rog, down to you.
Yeah, a couple of minutes ago, just as the players were getting the back end of their quarter-time speech, Lockie Plowman emerged from the rooms. He has got a little bit of strapping on his right knee. Not quite as heavily strapped as Zach Williams, but good to see he's back out there as well. An interesting one at quarter-time was the promotion from the Carlton Football Club. They had a running race. Supporters wearing bobbleheads of prominent Carlton players. One of them was Taylor Harris, who of course is no longer with the Blues, so they need to change tack there. Flowing blonde hair, I guess they could say it was Mark McClure in his heyday. I don't know.
Like where you're going there, Rog. Over to Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas. Imagine a seller's bobblehead. That would be a beauty.
I'd like a bit
Best
of hair.
seller.
Wouldn't you like a bit of hair?
Love it.
Yeah. I'm ahead, I mean. I'm just... But anyway, I haven't found any for a while. It's been hard.
You could have one on your dashboard, Rama, just to keep company nice and close to sellers during the week.
Well, the biggest part about that quarter was Walsh was just sensational. 20 to 10 inside 50s for the Blues, but they only lead by 10 points. I think they had more chances than the opposition. The Hawks actually used their 10 pretty well to have five shots on goal. So that was really good by Hawthorn. I really like what they did in that area. The Blues made some mistakes and they scored from it. So the Blues in front.
Second term underway on Grandstand. AFL Blues by 10. No immediate takeaway. What did you pick up in that first quarter, Rama?
Just Hawthorn are better around the contest there. The clearances were 11 to 8, but there was no real clean ones from Carlton, so much better by the Hawks compared to last week. That was I was very aware of in that first quarter with the Hawks.
Free kick in the middle of the ground at the ruck contest. Pit net immediately to Sard. Sard kicks inside the 50. It gets to the back, clears everyone. All on the bounce now, and it misses on the left-hand side. That would have been a 65-metre goal. Carlton with a behind to start the second term. The Blues lead by 11 points.
It worries me why they don't actually leave some room for Mackay for one out. They just get out of his way. They should get out of his way instead of trying to bust in on everything that he does.
Hardwick into Frost, long kick to the wing. Cripps wins it for Carlton. Hand pass to Williams. To Wiedering, and found a way round past Mitch Lewis and gave it back to Williams. Kicks to half forward. To Koning out in front, takes the mark. He's 55 metres out from the Blues goal. Veers out to the left. High ball towards Silvani and Hardwick. Hardwick spoiled it down. Frost just kicked over his shoulder. Where to? And Sard takes the mark 45 metres out from goal, slightly left of centre.
Well, to set up Sard there, because when you kick into that goal square, they actually enter out, they exit out the other way, and Sard was there waiting for it under pressure, took an easy mark.
It's a panicked kick from Sam Frost.
Yep.
And he may pay the full toll for it. Adam Sard's kicked 1 goal in his new club. He's featured in all 9 games for Carlton so far. Number 1 player in running bounces. Let's see how he goes with the set shot. Starts a very slow approach, out to the left, crosses the paint of 50. Sard veers out to the left and leaves it out to the left. A minor score. Carlton by 12 points, 2 minutes gone, second term.
So a couple of behinds for Sard to start this second term. Ball to be kicked in by Scrimshaw down at the punt road end of the ground. He brings it to the members' side. Big pack forms. Jones brings it to ground level. Doherty tries to tap it on. Coming the other way, Hardwick with strength for Hawthorn. A hand pass to Howe. Near defensive 50 at right half back. Kicks to the wing, turned it over. Been a shocking number of turnovers in this game so far. Wiedering marks and plays on. Flat drop punt towards the 50. Impey in front, didn't mark. Doherty Rove jammed it on his right boot, dribbling kick towards the teeth of goal. Betts, can he create some magic? No. Can't quite keep it in play as he ran across the face of goal. The ball wouldn't pop up obligingly. A throw in next to the left behind post.
So the Blues have had an inside 50 on a couple of occasions.
Three.
To start this second quarter. So Koning into the ruck, tried to take it out, was tackled immediately. Betts lurking, can't gather. Howe on the bottom of the pack. Paddy Cripps over the top of him. Just 20 metres out from Carlton's goal at the punt road end.
Albeit Betts is in the twilight of his career. Great challenge for Greaves. Young player and a really crafty small forward.
We've got Reeves doing the ruck and Greaves in defence. Tongue twister for the commentators. Walsh can't break clear. Had a long time holding the footy.
But you got to
Will take it.
You got to test him on the best. There's no good testing him on the
That's
on
right.
the
You
softies.
find out about your young players that
about
way.
them. Yeah, absolutely you do. And they learn. They learn more from playing on a great player than a poor one.
Yep. Mitchell from the right back pocket hoists it high towards the wing. Jones is up. The Koning rises over Jones, his teammate, and pulls in the mark. He's showing some good signs. Hand pass to Sard. Sard, another penetrating kick inside the 50. Up goes Frost. Brawl at ground level. Howe spins, dropped the ball, barrelled by Cripps. Curnow gives it off to Doherty. Right foot snap towards goal. Mackay there didn't mark. Silvani Roves missed the ball as he attempted a left foot snap. And over the boundary it goes. This game needs a spark big time. It's a flat atmosphere and skill errors have been an ongoing issue so far. Carlton leading by 12 points.
Thrown back into play. Pitnet in a wrestle with Reeves, flicks it over the back. Hardwick read it best for the Hawks. Long kick to the wing. McAvoy the target in a wrestle with Jones. Looked like he had a bit of Jones with the umpire way play on. Newman scraps for it, can't take it. Wiedering just pressed off Wingard, got rid of him. A Dusty don't argue as he kicks the half forward. Betts and Silvani. Good fly from Reeves in from the side. Say 211 centimetres, so he had him in the record at 209, so he might have even grown this year.
What this?
Most recently listed at 211, so the tallest ever player for the Hawthorn Football Club. And its proud 119-year history. Ball on the back flank with the Hawks. Howe gave it to Mitchell, just got the kick away, and it's marked by Bruce on the wing member's side. He feeds it infield. Moore gives it to a running Scrimshaw. Long hand pass forward to Hanrahan. Hanrahan the kick deep to Lewis, who's ghosted off over the back and takes the mark. To the right of the goal mouth, only 15 metres out.
Again, Carlton defenders, they're too high up the ground.
They may be too high up the ground, but we don't control the ball well. Poor kicking into the forward line, those sorts of little things, they count.
The great teams, when they turn the ball over, they're able to defend the ground still. It was too easy for Hawthorn. Too easy how they transition the ball.
Mitch Lewis for the first goal of the second quarter. He puts it through. And that has come against the run of play. Carlton 4-3-27, the Hawks 3-3-21. 5 played second term. Grandstand AFL on ABC Sport.
Well, you don't see that against Geelong.
No.
Teams like that.
Well,
even Melbourne
they're
now.
not Geelong.
But even Melbourne now, who are developing obviously on top of the ladder and are a very good team this season. But that's what their defence was in the past, where you're able to score on them like now you can't. Carlton are controlling the play here on the half-forward flank.
Absolutely. Or are they?
Well, the ball then quickly turns over, and you look. As soon as you turn your head up where we are, and I know we're elevated, you can see the space behind Carlton's defence. There shouldn't be space. Any good forward will find that space. So all it needs is just a good kick to finish it.
That's got to be on-field leadership, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. How are you setting up? So that's Wiedering and Jones being the key defenders and the leaders of that defence.
Hawthorn get one back to start the second quarter. Walsh trying to emerge with the clearance. Taps it to his own advantage. Mitchell had a tug of the jumper when he wasn't
pushed
in
him into the
possession.
ground. What are you doing?
And had the double with the push in the back. A daily double.
Don't go there, Clinchy. A horse at Rose Hill just got up called Rebel Rammer. And it paid $33 it paid. Rebel Rammer.
And what was our investment?
Zilch.
Can't back everything.
Hard again.
We tried.
Pushed out of the boundary line. So you have enough throws at the dartboard. Eventually you've got to get one, don't you?
You couldn't go with Rebel Rammer.
How did you not know Rammer? Rebel Rammer. That is the perfect description of our own Adam Ramanauskas. Boundary throw in. Pitnet belts it to the back. Walsh runs onto it. Hand pass to Williams. 45 metres out. The Blues need a spark. And there it is. His first goal for Carlton. And he flushed it from 45. 5-3-33 Carlton. Hawthorn 3-3-21, 7-minute mark, second quarter.
You look at Zach Williams today, Sellers, he's played across half-back.
Correct.
Now, I know he came to Carlton, you wanted him to play him as a midfielder, but now I think that experiment maybe on its last legs. He hasn't gone into the midfield at all today, but his run from halfback has been really good. He's been able to create a little bit better today, Sellers.
He has, but all of a sudden it came because of a really good hit out from the boundary line into the middle of the ground. Walsh hands it off. Williams gets it easy. So the actual ruckman created that, put it back into the middle of the ground, and there was no one else there except Walsh, who picked it up and gave it to Williams. Williams is a halfback flanker. I know that. They recruited him as that, and they put him in the midfield. He couldn't run.
He's had issues with his Achilles over the last couple of years, and Kane Little said that had interrupted his pre-season. They want him rock fit for 2022 if he wants to play in the midfield. Carlton by 12 points. Umpire's going to play holding the ball from the stoppage, and on the bottom of the pack, Ed Curnow not making enough intent to try and knock it out. Jager O'Meara takes the free kick. Just behind the two centre circles in the middle of the MCG. Long kick inside the 50. Mitch Lewis. One just couldn't pull it on the second attempt. Walsh gathers for the Blues. He's brought down. Did he have prior opportunity? Umpire waves play on. Morrison comes up with it for the Hawks. Hand pass to Scrimshaw to McAvoy. Dinky little kick inside 50. Kaczynski ran to his own teammate. Moore spoiled him. Still a chance for the Hawks. Scrimshaw can't knock it out. And centrefield gathers for the Blues. Ed Curnow, can he get it here? They're away if he can. No. Bouncing ball cleared. Morrison, not Frost. Charging out. The Hawks are into attack.
Gave it to Scrimshaw, off to Wingard. Balks around Walsh. He's at the top of the 50. Danger time for the Blues. Goal! Wingard went bang from the 50. There was a desperate attempt by Wiedering to try and touch it through on the line. The umpires are conferring they'll go to the arc. Is there a fingernail on this from Jacob Wiedering? Got the binoculars up on the big screen and not seeing a lot of evidence to suggest Wiedering has been able to touch this. Let's have a look as the decision comes up on the big screen now. Will it be a Hawthorn goal? A behind, so Wiedering has been able to get a hand to it. 5-3-33.
Seeing something different to us, Al.
Well, I was looking through a set of binoculars at the big screen, Rammer. Hopefully the technology and clarity's a bit better in the arc. So the margin's 11 points to the Blues, 10-minute mark of the second quarter.
Fogarty from half-back out to Doherty on the members' side. Carlton co-captain looks to the members' wing where Ed Curnow's on a long lead. Marks in front of Impey in front of the bench. Well, the other co-captain, Paddy Cripps, is waiting to come on. Curnow drives the kick towards the pocket. Harry Mackay, the target, used his body, got rid of Hardigan, dropped the chest mark, and it rolls out of play. So perhaps psychologically the battle between Harry and Cole going on at the moment. Cole's had the early points, despite Harry having a shot or two on goal. He's had just the one disposal, Harry Mackay, so it's been a good battle. Thrown back in to Koning into the ruck against McAvoy, wins it down. Cripps on all fours trying to knock it out. Likewise Warple pushing the back. Just as Sam Walsh is about to get the kick inside 50. So a Hawthorn free kick on half back. It's the Blues by 11 points.
0437774774. Listening to your coverage from the Fitzroy River in the Kimberley. Having a beer and catching Barramundi. Dean, Dash and Roger Lads. Sounds heavenly. Good to have you with us. Warple on the back flank received it, goes towards the wing. Jones in front, couldn't mark. Wiedering gets it, tumble punt back to the attacking 50. Silvani playing in front of Frost. It gets to the back. Frost had it, lost it. Silvani's hand pass pinched by Warple. Warple spins away. Hand pass to Greaves. Feeds his hand pass to a running Frost. Now this is the good bit for Frost. He runs and bounces. He's caught! Mown down by Doherty. Spoke too soon. I was more worried about the kick than the run, and Doherty, he went hard after him. Frost has felled Newman. Doherty kicks infield to De Koning. He marks on the AFL logo members side. De Koning short. Umpire ducks to get out of the road. Jones marks for Carlton. Dumps it into the forward pocket. Mackay one-on-one, hands to it, no mark. Jath there with Silvani, neither can get it. O'Meara does. A hand pass away to Morrison, off to Hardwick, clears defensive 50 for the Hawks.
Jones underneath it, Lewis in from the side, got a hand to it. Saad gathers to Koning, kick partially smothered. Walsh runs into a dead end in O'Meara, and he's dumped to the turf, and the umpire will throw it up. Just short of left half forward for the Blues, who lead by 11 points, heading to the punt road end in this second quarter. After Carlton led by 10 at quarter time. Hawks have matched it with them, but haven't quite had the scoring intent to really challenge them.
The game hasn't got to any great height yet, but it's a real arm wrestle now. You can sort of see both teams want to play this game in close.
O'Meara's kick to the members wing, a bouncing ball which Williams read best, hand pass to Stocker, just got his kick away from a lunging Bruce. Jaff brought the ball down against Owies, but then overran the footy. Setterfield, tackled, dumped, good effort by Scrimshaw. The umpire will toss it up in the middle of the MCG.
And why I say that is Hawthorn after last week, they were embarrassed about their in-close stuff. Carlton, on the other hand, know once the game gets on the outside, they're very easy to play against.
Carlton win the clearance again. Cripps to Walsh. Walsh runs to 50. Goes for home. Long ball, straight ball. Everything he touches turns to gold, Sam Walsh. What a star of the competition he's becoming. 6-3-39 Carlton. Hawthorn 3-4-22, 14-minute mark of the second term down at Cardinia Park. They're 24 minutes into the game. It's the Cats by 11 points over the Suns.
So they get kicks a goal, they run him off the ground. That's okay. But listen, let me tell you, he's been fantastic. Enormous in his possessions around the ground. Incredible. In fact, 19 he's had at this stage, and 9 contested possessions, tackles of 4, and we haven't even got to halfway through the second quarter yet. So he could have one of the big games of all time. This kid's a star. But the ruck work in there was fantastic as well, to knock it to the right spot, and then they clear it out, and then Walsh just finishes beautifully. He's a star.
Mark McClure with you on Grandstand AFL, the number 1 draft pick from 2018. Hasn't missed a game since his AFL debut. In the middle of the ground, Ed Curnow got a socket forward. It's going to work. Fogarty gathers, kicks towards Silvani on the bounce in the pocket. He tried to feed the hand pass to Betts. He missed him. Had to go back in to try and claim it, and the Hawks scurried out of play. Right forward pocket for the Blues. In attack at the punt road end, Carlton by 17.
And due for his 50th game next week, Clinty. So the Blues scheduled to play against Sydney at the SCG, then West Coast at the MCG before the bye. So 50 for Walsh up already, and shown plenty in those 50 games. Giath from the stoppage, Hawthorn off the half-back flank through Greaves and Mitchell, all by hand to Warple, off to Cousins. A hand pass to Howe. Runs to the southern wing near the boundary line. Kicks to half forward. Bruce the target. Stocker the spoil. Ball does stay in play momentarily before it's taken out by Newman. A throw-in, attacking side of the outer wing for the Hawks.
Interesting debate. Is he the best 50-game player we've seen? And there's others as well, but is he one of those?
He'd be right up there, wouldn't he? Be a good debate, that, because he'd go right back to players of Lee Matthews' ilk who had such an immediate impact when they came into the competition. Cousins mown down. Gibbons got him, got the kick away inside the 50. Kajitsky sees it over the boundary line. Left forward pocket for the Hawks down at the city end. It's the Blues by 17.
Who's yours? Best 50.
Cyril was pretty good.
Oh, damn good.
It's actually just pondering that question as you asked it, Sellers. It's a good one.
Sellers and I put our card hand down, and Rammer just had the full house.
I'm done. I'm gone. Cyril's been good, yeah.
Chris Judd's first 50 would have had to have been very good.
Yeah. Excellent.
I'm trying to think of guys that came in and had an immediate impact, and all of them are those young prodigy players.
And the SMS, you might as well come through with
those.
those.
0437 774 774. Sells us asked the question, who's had the best 50 games to start their AFL career?
Bailey Smith's been pretty good for the Bulldogs. He's coming up for his 50th, I think, this round as well.
Good point.
Yeah. Corbin holds a flag for Zach Butters, who unfortunately is out for the rest of the...
Zach Butters definitely.
Well, for the immediate future.
Well played.
Jones works it forward to Doherty. Saad, the kick to Eddie Betts on 50. He can kick to the lead of Owies, who takes the mark. That's good ball control from Carlton. Pinpoint passes 3 or 4 times in a row, and have finished in the hands of the ex-basketballer Matt Owies, directly in front, 35 metres out.
Lining up for his second goal. He's been good. He reads the play well. He reads where the space is, finds that space, then leads at it hard. He's got a good leap, so he gets up in the air quite well to mark the ball, but much better ball movement by the Blues there. Sort of went untouched from half-back to now where this shot at goal is.
He actually, it's the timing's right. You get the timing right in the lead, otherwise you bugger it up.
Former basketball at the University of Hawaii, 183 centimetres. Owies for his second, steers it through. And the Blues skip clear to a 23-point advantage at the 18-minute mark of the second quarter. It could be starting to get dangerous for the Hawks. 7-3-45. to Hawthorn 3-4-22. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure with you.
Well, the half-back flankers have played a huge part with Williams and Sard, and that's where they were picked to play down there. All of a sudden, you see the reward you can pick up by them running through the middle of the ground and using the ball short. Good hit, another hit, and then Owi's on the lead, and Owi's held himself back until he had that chance to go and get hit properly. 35, 40 metres, little pass, easy goal, and it make it look easy. They share it well, they move it well, but I really think that Sard and Williams have changed what they look like because of the speed of the ball coming out of the back half.
The problem for the Hawks right now is the game's being played really in Carlton's front half. Inside 50s are 30-15 for the game, 10-5 this quarter.
Gee, you've latched onto something with the 50 gamers, sellers. Lots of text coming in, 0437 774 774. Setterfield, the clearance for Carlton inside 50. Scrimshaw marks opposed to Fogarty. Richard in Geelong says Phil Carman, best first 50 games. Pavlich says another listener. I just ran the numbers on Peter Hudson's first 50. 285 goals.
John Coleman would have been okay.
285 goals for Hutto.
Get
his first 50. Yeah, don't worry about that. Let's see what else we can work on. Inside 50 goes Hawthorn through the agency of Moore. McAvoy took it from the contest, got tackled, dispossessed, in dispute. Ed Curnow tried to take them on. O'Meara latched on. A ball up 35 metres from the Hawthorn goal. 7-3-45 the Blues. Hawthorn 3-4-22, 19-minute mark at the second.
How could you forget Hutto?
He came to Victoria at what age?
Must have been in his early 20s, I reckon.
Yeah, he was young. Yeah, he came back late too.
Hanrahan sops it off the ground for the Hawks. Free kick off the ball. No. Play on as Cottrell will see Carlton out of defence. Must have heard a random whistle. DeConing gathers for the Blues at half-back. Kicks long around the southern wing. Mackay's outnumbered and Jarman MP racing back takes the mark for the Hawks. Off and bounding into the middle of the ground. Takes on Gibbons. Fends off him. Chips the ball laterally. Jaff. Hand pass now to the run of Frost. Over the top to Impey, who started it. Kicks around Fogarty. Not a great kick, though, to McAvoy. He spoiled it down against Pitnet. Gets the hand pass back to Jaff. Could have been taken high.
Can't do that.
By Pitnet.
Yep, that wasn't right.
I guess further to our conversation, if you're talking about players who belatedly came over when they'd already established careers in their states, it's different to a draft pick who goes on to play 50, so that's maybe a way of separating the conversation out a little bit further.
It doesn't really matter whether it is or not, because, I mean, don't forget that Essendon captain and coach, his first 50 wasn't bad either, was it?
Pitnet went to lay the hip and shoulder on Jaff. It was an awkward bump given how low he was. He's going for it from 55, right to the goal line in the end, rush through for a minor score by Pitnet. So the Blues leading by 23 points. I mean, does make you think. So Marlon Pickett's played in 2 AFL grand finals and a VFL grand final. I don't think he's even played 30 games.
James Hurd. What was his first 50?
Was very good. Very good. Rammer's first 50 weren't too shabby, says one listener. Very kind.
Good afternoon to Mrs. Ramanauskas.
Phillips from the kick-in wins it back for Hawthorn. Kicks to full forward. Kaczynski couldn't mark. Tried to soccer. It's touched through. Another Hawthorn behind. The margin 21 points. 21-minute mark at the second.
0437 774 774. We're going to lay claim for the best 50 games to start an AFL career this afternoon.
Joel Selwood was pretty good. I reckon
tell you what, we
absolutely.
Fastest 50 texts we've ever got at the ABC, Clinchy, the way this is going.
It's all right. You're on the laptop this afternoon, not me.
My head's spinning.
Murphy can't pick it up cleanly. Tackled by Cousins. Little soccer forward to work. Mackay takes the mark. Inspired from Newman. Kicks into the corridor over the head of Fogarty. And in the end, a comfortable chest mark from Scrimshaw. As Sellers said, you can't kick it there.
To Murphy.
Moore takes it for the Hawks. Hand pass to Jaff. Out in the path of Scrimshaw. He's got all sorts of problems. He dragged it in. Weedering over the top. Paddy Cripps in from the side, who's holding the footy.
Kick the handball.
A bit like the toddler with the training wheels. The Hawks every now and then when they're taken off, they get the speed wobbles. The Sards bounce doesn't come up. He gathers, does get it back. Kicks a spirally ball inside the 50. Taccone did a lot of the work to rub out. Reeves trying to push him under the ball. And then Hartigan's hand pass under pressure to Scrimshaw. Now gets the hand pass to Greaves. Out of defence. Only for the moment. Over the head of Jaff. Pitnet takes the mark for Carlton.
He's 60 metres from goal. Pitnet kicks to full forward. Mackay in front to Koning over the back, and Reeves. All of his 211 centimetres belting the ball out of play.
Pitnet had both Doherty and Saab there right next to him. Just got to give that handball. They're going to deliver it inside 50, better than the ruckman.
Much better.
Bob in Margaret Rivers added a good name to the conversation in a moment. Boundary throw in. Reeves knocked it down. Mitchell takes possession. Tackle dispossessed. Walsh rode the tackle. Hand pass to Gibbons. Off to Murphy. 40 out. Kicks towards full forward. De Koning almost leg. Tried to tap it to Betts. It's over the boundary line. Bob in Margaret Rivers says best first 50 games. Hayden Bunton included a Brownlow in his first
remember.
year.
I was about to ask you, how did you know?
I was almost alive.
Handy start.
Toss back in.
You're kidding, aren't you?
Tap
Probably
down
was.
by Pitnet, rode by O'Meara, bursts out of defence for the Hawks and clears to the members' wing.
Kicks to a couple of 2-on-2s. Wiedering and Lewis brings it down. Wiedering tackled by Lewis. Kaczynski with the hand pass forward to Bruce, and now to Moore. Has to go backwards to Cousins. Good pressure from Stocker. As the Hawks work around him to Moore. He runs to right half forward. Long kick inside the 50. Plowman's the loose. He'll fly in the pack, but good mark, Kaczynski. He's out to the right 50 from home. Looking at options in the corridor. He does the disciplined thing and puts it towards McAvoy. Flying in the pack as well as Howe. Tom Mitchell crumbed it. Run down by Owies just as he was about to get boot to ball. Gathered by Mitch Lewis. Hand pass to Bruce around the body. They eventually get the goal. Took a bit of hard work, but at the end of the day, you wanted the footy in the hands of Luke Bruce. And he was the man up for the occasion to finish the work. Carlton's lead is cut back to 15 points. 7-3-45 to the Hawks, 4-6-30 with Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas on Grandstand AFL.
He doesn't miss much, Bruce. He's been fantastic. They kicked 3 goals each for the quarter. That's the difference. And so they stayed where they were at the end of the first quarter, almost, in a sense. It's been a pretty good game, and more inside 50s for the Blues, but they continue to try and do things that they can't actually handle, which they should be short passing, hitting a spot, kicking low. You don't have to kick it high. Don't kick to the boundary. Put pressure on them at the top of the square. Those sorts of things. Different stuff than what they've been doing at the moment. But Hawthorn hang in there.
What about Sam Kekovic's first 50 games from one listener, Sellers?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Not in the top
He'd be
tier?
listening, Sam, so I wouldn't have thought so.
Alan reckons Jezelenko and Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Kenny Hunter.
Oh, he was great, yeah. But he was mature when he got here.
That's what I was talking about, Sellers, and you shot me down. De Koning out of the middle, kicks to centre half forward. No mark taken by Jath. Hartigan gets a hand pass out, and then there's a big physical exchange that results in a Hartigan free kick. He's on defensive 50. Kicks to the left half-back flank over the head of Greaves. Runs onto a bouncing ball near the boundary line. He's not sure. Goes for territory down the line. Used it well. Found the chest of Howe. Howe centre wing, southern side of the MCG. Kicks towards Cousins, who's got a metre or so on Walsh. He marks 2 long kicks from goal. Shields the sun from his eyes. It's a beautiful day in Melbourne. Not a cloud in the sky. Long kick now to the teeth of goal. Surely Lewis being held by Wiedering. No free kick as Sard takes the intercept mark in the right back pocket. Clayton Oliver's getting a suggestion from
pretty good player.
One of our listeners, the Dominator Wayne Johnson.
Very good.
From Doc Marco in Pran. Roger Aldridge down on the boundary. He's yet to reach the 50 mark with us, but he's doing very nicely, Rog.
He's turned 50, hasn't he?
Hey, fellas. Look, we see the clubs hold up signs when we get late in the quarter, and generally they keep it simple. Carlton's is, 2 and 1, but down here at the moment, actually, Carlton's holding up a Joker playing card, and Hawthorn says SZ hash, which really just feels like Clarko taking the mickey.
Roger Aldridge doing some of his best work on the boundary this afternoon. Phillips with the Hawks on the wing, kicks them inside 50. Mitch Lewis in front, couldn't take the mark. Wingard front and centre Rose. Hand pass back to Phillips, who started play. Chips it to Warple. He's still 55 metres out from home, though.
I just wonder with those cards, how many players actually would look at them?
Yep.
What would you have done, Sellers, if you saw a Joker on the boundary line? We'll go back to that.
What's a Joker, man?
Warple kicks inside the 50. Beautiful crumb from Luke Bruce. Textbook front and centre, and he dribbles through his second. Back-to-back goals for Luke Bruce as the Hawks start to reel Carlton in. They got out by 23 points in this second quarter. It's back to a 9-point game. 7-3-45 to the Hawks. 5-6-36, 27 gone, second quarter.
And it was looking comfortable for the Blues. Now these 2 late goals in red time, as they call it, in time on. Just really easy. That was really easy there for Bruce. Beautiful front and square. the kick was to that dangerous spot. Great contest by Lewis there to get the ball to ground. That's where you've got to recognise who are the dangerous forwards. And you look at that front of that contest, Bruce there didn't have an arm across him by any Carlton defender. Too good. He's too good of a player. He just strolls through, kicks a really simple goal.
Been a good player for a while too, just quietly.
High bounce in the middle. Pitnet palmed it down to Cripps, who gave a hand pass to Ed Kerner, who was immediately tackled but got it free. Walsh going in hard for it, couldn't win it for the Blues. Warple's hand pass knocked down. O'Meara paddling. Fogarty on his hammer. Phillips farms it out at defensive 50. Got one over the shoulder. Free kick Hawthorn, right half-back flank. John Todd, Sandover medal, age 17, says Mavis in Leaderville.
Very good.
Coached the Eagles in the early days. Scrimshaw receives, goes to Greaves in the middle. Greaves towards Lewis. Jones up, spoils. Wingard at the full. Hand pass out, missed the target in Morrison. Sard wants the boundary line and gets it there. And it's out of bounds on the full, is it? No. It's come off a foot. Now the umpire there, Sellers, has signalled out of bounds on the full. It's a Hawthorn free kick. Morrison's over to take it.
I think it might be the other way. You sure?
The umps have had a conversation here. Now the boundary umpire thinks it's a throw-in.
It is the other way.
It's a Carlton free kick.
Sorry, Al.
Your eyes are very good, Sellers.
Even a broken clock's all right twice a day.
Sard brings it back in. You were all over that, Sellers. Kick goes to the back flank. And it's punched away from the pack by McKine over the boundary line at left half forward for a throw-in. Reece reckons Chris Judd. Another listener says Dermot Brereton. Leon Baker, Peter Bazzasto says Andrew Montmorency.
No, Buzz had 49.
He'll be on the text shortly.
He will be too. No, he was a star early days. Gee.
Credit where credit's due.
He was great. He was great.
Carlton by 9 points and a chance to add to that. Murphy on half-back. Gets the hand pass to Silvani on the southern wing. Takes a bounce and runs to right half forward. Got a good block from Murphy. Cleared the path forward. Kicks long to Deconigan. Mackay. Oh, Harry dropped the mark. Eddie Betts waltzes through. And you didn't have to worry long because Eddie was there.
He's got a sense, hasn't he? Sense about where the ball's going to go, and he's always at the right spot.
The goal sense for Eddie Betts. He's second. Carlton immediately restore a 15-point advantage. 8-3-51 to the Hawks, 5-6-36. 31 gone, second term.
At least they moved to the top of the square. They gave them an opportunity and they tested the defence with the talls. And there was a scrambly part there. Silvani came across, kicked it in the middle. Mackay was in the action there with it came down to the front. And there was Eddie. Guess what? Front and square, perfect. If you want to see something better than that, you can't. It's the best you'll ever see. And he's done it 100 times. He's been a star. He's coming towards the end, but gee whiz, he just knows where to go.
So Carlton with a little bit of breathing space again approaching half-time on Grandstand AFL. We have been flooded with messages around best first 50 games. We'll get to a few of those more in the break.
Glad you thought
bounce
about
in
it.
the middle.
What about the best 50 from Tassie?
Oof.
Come on. Don't break it into categories.
We will break it. Darryl Baldock when he came over, Sellers, Ian Stewart. Some fine players. Out of the middle of the ground, O'Meara. Tumble punt forward for the Hawks. Morrison might run onto it. Jag, a late one. A snap. Oh, what a finish. Under pressure on the run, 40 metres out. And the Hawks get a critical one. It's Morrison's second, and it comes with seconds remaining in the second. Carlton 8-3-51, Hawthorn 6-6-42.
It's a fair finish.
It was very good.
That's a very good finish, but that's really poor from Carlton. Well, okay, the centre bounce, but it's a scrubby kick going inside forward 50. And I'm trying to find where Morrison's man is. He comes through the contest where the ball is going to the back with nobody anywhere near him. He's able to kick a really, really tough goal, but a critical goal for the Hawks going, 19 seconds remaining in this quarter.
They don't watch themselves, the Blues, because if you give this side a bit of confidence, they might just bowl you over.
It's got a bit of an NBA All-Star feel about it, Rammer. There's a lot of attacking in this game and not a lot of defending, which might suit both fans who had a tough 10 weeks to start the AFL season. McAvoy, one down the tap, beautifully to O'Meara. Is there time for one more? Kicks towards half forward. Wingard races after it. Just fists it forward inside the 50. Jones gets back. Bruce charged out. Lewis just couldn't quite get the hand pass to Wingard. And that'll probably do us as Howe gathers. Kicks to the pocket. A lunging Bruce couldn't gather. It's going to bounce too. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Jager O'Meara with a flying shot. I don't know how no one touched it. Yeah. Oh. I'm going to have a look at the replay to try and work out exactly what happened. But Daniel Howe is the player who's getting the hair ruffled. He kicked a goal after the half-time siren. It's bounced past about 4 players to get there. Hard against the boundary. Howe snapping on his left. Cleared the lunging hand of Bruce. Cleared Kajitsky. And a lunging Wiedering. You wouldn't believe it. Hawthorn's lead, Carlton's lead has been cut to 3 after the siren of half-time. 7-6-48 to the Blues. 8-3-51. What a great finish from Daniel Howe, who got his opportunity late this afternoon with Liam Shields being a late out for the Hawks. So half-time, the Blues, who led by 10 points at half-time, got out by 23 midway through the second. It's a 3-point lead at half-time with Sam Walsh booting 2. Eddie Betts, kicking 2. Matthew Owies with 2 individuals to Silvani, Williams, De Koning, and Walsh. Meanwhile, for the Hawks, 2 goals to Harry Morrison, 2 to Luke Bruce, individuals to Howe and Kajitsky.
So with about 30 seconds to go in that second quarter, Carlton led by 15 points. And at half-time, the margin is only 3, and it's game right on at the MCG. It's been great to have all your contributions coming in on 0437 774 774. Sellers post the question, best player to 50 games, the most significant contribution in the first 50 by a player, and you have duly answered. Alan Jakovic was the best to watch for the first 50, says one of our listeners. Another listener suggests Royce Hart, Seller, so he fits that Tassie component. Another listener, I think Steve in South Launceston, reckoned Brent Croswell.
He was
did
a great
very
player.
well when he came over as well. Chris Judd, Ben Cousins, Anthony Koutafiti, says Jeff from Geraldton. Torch McGee from the Coodabbeens. Best first 8 games, says Mikey from Bendigo. Good on you, Mikey. Like your work there. 0437 774. Dane Swan, says another one of our listeners. There are so many options being presented by our listeners out there, which is fantastic. Let us know your name and where you're listening to the coverage as well.
It's good memories, isn't it, really, when you think about it? That's what it's all about, and whoever you think it is, that's up to you, and it's your choice.
And it's great to just think for a moment or two about the many greats who've graced the fields over the years, and we focus much on the here and now and the weekly cycle of football, but the legacy of the past remains very, very strong. Carlton 8-3-51, Hawthorn 7-6-48. Before the thoughts of Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure on Grandstand AFL, will bring you up to date with what's happening at Cardinia Park. They're 7 minutes into the second quarter there. It's Geelong leading Gold Coast by 10 points at the moment. So the score in that match is Geelong 4-1-25, Gold Coast 2-3-15. And the goal kickers, all singles in the game so far. Cameron, Duncan, Hawkins and Tui for the Cats. For the Suns, King and Corbett. Rammer and Sellers at half-time at the MCG.
Well, I don't really think that the midfield, Hawthorn just took over there. I thought you took Mitchell and Amira and Wingard and those sorts of guys and Cousins, and all of a sudden Phillips gets his hands on the ball a hell of a lot. I mean, when you have a look at Mitchell, he's had 18 now for the game, you know, so he's got himself back into the play, and they just kept pounding the forward line. And the Blues, not strong down back really. They've defended poorly in some cases. They've allowed them to score in some cases. That last goal, I mean, that was extraordinary how they. Did anyone see where it went and what it did? And did they chase it? Did they actually try and block it? I don't know what happened. I didn't see it myself. It was in the dark over there. So it was interesting to see how they finished the game. And the goal kickers, Brewster's had 2 this quarter, in that quarter on his own. I really like what he did. And then you got Wingard got 1, and Lewis has got a couple goals, and Morris has got a couple of goals, and Lewis has got 1, and they just continue to punch it forward. They're fighting, they're having a go. They've got some classy players who still are very active. The Blues didn't outscore them. They got outscored for the quarter. 5 goals to 4. So in a sense, Hawthorn aren't going away. And the Blues, this is a good test for the Blues. Can you fight your way out of this? Can you finish this off? Or are you going to let a young side roll you over? And this is the big key for me. And we had Kane Little in and what the character is like in this team and how they operate and how they handle. How do you want your team to look like? What do you want it to look like? I want it to look like a bunch of blokes who are competitive and want it to actually score in the right manner and actually be selfless in a sense. You don't have to rush into the forward line and fill it up. You don't have to do all those things. You need to set up behind the ball, as Rama said before. That poor defence, so sometimes it's good to stay out and let the forwards do what they're supposed to do. I was very, very impressed by Hawthorn. Their last quarter was just fantastic. 5 goals, terrific stuff.
The reality is you've got to play out a quarter if you're Carlton. Now, 4 of those 5 goals came after the 24-minute mark.
That's exactly what Peter from Hampton has texted in a couple of times, Rama.
It's a nice reminder to young commentators as well. Play until the siren
That's right,
sounds.
but it's poor. That's really poor by Carlton. So you look at that, they're up by 20 points there at the 17-minute mark, and then they just go to sleep. They go to sleep, and that a little bit of that's leadership. Absolutely. I think, let's dig in here now. We're in time on. Let's hold the fort. Because what could have been a comfortable lead at half-time is now it's a real arm wrestle. The games are going to be a real arm wrestle now in this second half. So I just felt...
That was after Walsh's goal. Walsh's
right.
goal, and then from that moment on, they hardly scored. Carlton.
But you look at... I look at Carlton. I look at more the Hawthorn side of things from last week particularly. So clearances in that first half, 22-19 in Carlton's favour. Not bad. So nearly even. The tackle count, 29-39 in Hawthorn's favour. The contested possession count, 76-78 in Hawthorn's favour. It shows they're up for the fight. They're up for the fight. In general play a little bit, I think Carlton are going okay. When they've been able to move the ball, they're okay. But right now, this game is an arm wrestle. That's what Alistair Clarkson wanted after last week's game. Make no mistake about it. As nice as he was after the game in his press conference, they would have got shreds torn off them. Hawthorn, shreds torn off them after the game and during the week about their contest. Because it's un-Hawthorn-like, and I'm sure Alistair Clarkson and Hawthorn would have been embarrassed with the way they played in that contest last week. So that first half is a big tick for Hawthorn in their contest work.
We always thought that this would be a worrying game for the Blues because he would have wound them up like a top and get out there and do your best. They've done well. They've been very, very good. They picked some flaws in our team and executed well.
It's funny how psychologically sides that have played well against you does still play in the back of the mind. I mean, on paper, you feel like Carlton should be 4 or 5 goals in front, and yet the lessons that they still haven't learnt defensively even are on display against the bottom 4 or 5 teams.
Well, we do have some rushing halfback flankers, blokes who push up, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's 2. But what's the other 4 doing?
That's the point.
Yeah. So that's my issue with it. You can have
Luke
2.
Brewster's goals. I mean,
that second Bruce goal is unforgivable.
No.
A player of that calibre, Luke Bruce, and he's able to get to a contest with nobody near him, and then just stroll through the contest and kick a goal. So the issue that I have with Carlton, obviously it's defence, okay? But they're not learning a lesson from week to week with it. And you continue, and that's what would frustrate supporters, that they see the same thing repeated over and over again. If they can clean up that one area of their game, that one area, I think they're absolutely pushing. They're absolutely pushing for a position in that final 8. But until they do, they're just going to sit where they are.
Well,
because they don't respect it enough.
Well, Kane Little produced 80,000 members. There's nowhere near coming out to watch them today in that numbers. What is there, 35?
Well, we had 3 security guards, 3 police officers with us in the lift, and got a little bit nervous.
I got a bit nervous myself.
How many they were expecting? They said 41,000, so I think they're normally pretty much bang on.
Yeah, to 40,000. And Blues have got 80,000 members.
But we've seen often clubs don't have their best player as captain because it allows you to hold the standards higher because you don't have that natural talent. And it tells you're a captain of a club, so you probably speak better than most. But
are you saying he wasn't the best player?
No, I wasn't.
No, I'm saying that you understand.
No, I wasn't.
Trying to get the best out of a group to be in that premiership window. Because when you look at Carlton, it doesn't feel like they're mature enough. They're learning the lessons, as you spoke about, to get from being good to great, or at the moment, middle of the road. Do you think so, or not so much?
So what do you think the captain, who's the best player, should... What are you trying to say about that? What do you mean?
That the on-field leadership at times for Carlton is lacking.
Let me tell you, 18-year-olds can be a leader. They can be the best tackler. They can be the best chaser. They can be the best at anything you want them to be if you actually encourage them and push them and shove them. And that's what I was trying to get through to Kane Little. Who's challenging each other? Who's going to challenge these people? The defence need to get together and, hey, pull your finger out a bit. And that's what they need to do and talk about.
So my question now is, so you look at particularly that last 7 minutes of the quarter where they've gone and kicked 4 goals. In modern football, with modern technology within the rooms now, is that getting shown? Because that can get shown up on a screen now in front of every player. And you can actually point out and you can hold your teammate accountable right there and then. When I played and when Salah's played, that was during the week when that'll get shown. But right now, that can get exposed within a change room, and you can say to your mate next to you, hey, come on, that's just not good enough. Let's not do that again in the second half.
But we were exposed on the ground too.
Yeah.
It happened on the ground. We say, hey, what do you think you're doing?
But they got a twofold.
Where are you
now.
going?
They got it both ways, Sellers.
Yeah, I know that, and I understand that. And sometimes kids are embarrassed by it. You know what I mean? Like in our day, you couldn't get embarrassed. You just copped it. They just copped it, or you didn't play.
Or you're out.
See you later.
Yeah.
But today they say, oh, get embarrassed by it. Why would you show that in the rooms? I mean, seriously, there's a different sort of manner, I would think you would call it, in how you're approached, because the manner wasn't that flash when we were going around.
But I guess Melbourne is the best example, and I know you want to go to the news, Al, but about, well, it wasn't my man that kicked the goal, it was his man. But you see Melbourne, that it's our man.
It's our man.
It's our man. It's a team. And you just sort of feel like, and I've seen Carlton about 3 or 4 times over the first 10 rounds, you can just see it clear as day.
As soon as you're passing the buck from one person to the other, that's where the issue lies. Now, it's not a direct go at your teammate.
Yes, it is.
Well, but you know what I mean. It's not.
Why didn't you help me?
You're not being personal.
No.
All you're doing is trying to get better. You're trying to get better as a team.
So it's got an end goal, hasn't it? It's not about being personal with people. It's getting the best out of people and holding people accountable. And
correct.
In life, that applies to many things. So many texts. 0437 774 774. Lockie in North Kew says John Coleman, the best first 50 games. Relton Roberts even gets a mention from someone here. Stephen Michael, a few suggestions around Adrian McAdam. Mark says he kicked 23 goals in his first 3 games, the most sensational start to a career. Sadly, he only played 36, in which he kicked 92 goals. Yes, he really did burst onto the scene. Charlie says Nathan Buckley, Andrew McLeod and Adrian McAdam, good NT players. Loving the broadcast and great interview Mark McClure did with Carlton CEO. Beautiful 34 degrees. Dry season day in Darwin. Good on you, Charlie. Thanks for your text. And to all those coming in, 0437 774 774. Carlton leading Hawthorn by 3 points at half-time, 8-3-51 to 7-6-48 down at the Cattery. Approaching half-time in that match. In fact, 16 minutes into the second quarter, Geelong leads Gold Coast by 9 points. We'll duck off to the news and then we'll have more, the second half from the MCG.
ABC News with Jamie Travers. China's embassy in Australia has slammed comments by Foreign Minister Maurice Payne, who's accused Beijing of withholding information about espionage charges levelled against an Australian man. Matthew Doran reports from Parliament House.
Writer Young Hen Jun has been behind bars in China for more than 2 years and will face trial in a closed court next week. Senator Payne says Australia has repeatedly expressed its concerns about how he's been treated while locked up, worried he's had no access to his family and limited meetings with his legal team. She's demanding Australian consular officials have access to his trial and says Chinese authorities haven't provided evidence for the charges Dr. Young is facing. In a strongly worded response, a spokesman for the Chinese embassy labelled Senator Payne's comments as deplorable and said Australia should refrain from interfering in the Chinese judicial process.
US President Joe Biden says he'd meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un under the right conditions. Mr. Biden has met with South Korean President Moon Jae-in in Washington, D.C., with both leaders saying their goal is the complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. Mr. Biden says, however, for a meeting to occur with Kim Jong-un, North Korea would have to agree to discussions about its nuclear arsenal.
I would not do what
had been done in the recent past. I would not give him all that he's looking for. National, international recognition is legitimate and allowed him to move in the direction of appearing to be more serious about what he wasn't at all serious about.
Back home now, and residents in the New South Wales Upper Hunter are casting their final votes in today's crucial by-election. 13 candidates are contesting the seat, left vacant after Nationals MP Michael Johnson resigned following sexual assault allegations, which he denies. Leonie Rogers has lived in Muswellbrook for almost 20 years and says the region has never seen so many political leaders.
I'm feeling a tad cynical, actually, because in the last week or two I've seen more state and federal leaders in our town than I think has ever been here. I've seen more posters. I've seen, well, today I saw a billboard on a bus. Once upon a time we were a very safe electorate. All of a sudden we're incredibly important.
The federal opposition believes a directive to military personnel to stop holding morning teas, which celebrate diversity and inclusion, has been influenced by the new Defence Minister, Peter Dutton. The order came from the Secretary of the Defence Department and the Chief of the Defence Force, and states that such behaviour can distract from the ADF's primary mission of defending Australia. It comes less than a week after ADF members marked International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, Interphobia and Transphobia at events across the country. Shadow Home Affairs Minister Christina Keneally says Peter Dutton's ideological fingerprints are all over the directive.
Peter Dutton is a warmonger. He's a warmonger. And whether it comes to picking fights with countries in our region or picking culture war fights, Peter Dutton likes to be a warmonger.
Staying with federal politics, and the Prime Minister has spent his second day in Tasmania visiting a childcare facility in Launceston. Monica Champ reports.
Scott Morrison spent his morning at the Ravenswood Child and Family Centre spruiking a $6 million funding commitment for the Brave Foundation, an organisation that supports expecting and parenting teenage mothers.
There's nothing more encouraging and more inspiring than seeing the pure determination of parents to do the best they possibly can.
Brave founder Bernie Black, who lives in Tasmania, says the money will help the organisation expand to more parts of the country.
We will also be exploring delivery in Western Australia, South Australia and the ACT.
The Prime Minister left Tasmania this morning.
To a lucrative pen pal partnership now, and a letter written by physicist Albert Einstein containing his most famous equation has fetched more than $1.5 million at auction in the United States. This report from the BBC's Terry Egan.
It's probably the most famous equation ever. E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. This elegant equation altered forever how we think about time and space, suggesting that time was not an absolute. While this example, one of just 4 known to have been written down in his own hand by Einstein, came in a one-page letter to the Polish-American physicist Ludwig Zilberstein. Zilberstein had challenged many of Einstein's theories, not least in a debate, but time proved Einstein right.
You're up to date with the latest from ABC News.
To watch the latest stories from ABC News and clips from our current affairs shows online, it's time to go direct to the source. Australia's most reliable news can be found on ABC Radio, the ABC News app and the ABC News website. Download the free app now and stay across local breaking stories, updates and analysis from Australia's most trusted news. What matters to you matters to us, and it's all on the ABC News app and news.abc.net.au.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Scrimshaw, long hand pass forward to Hanrahan. Hanrahan, the kick deep to Lewis, who's ghosted off over the back and takes the mark. Mitch Lewis for the first goal of the second quarter. He puts it through. Boundary throw in, Pitnet belts it to the back. Walsh runs onto it. Hand pass to Williams, 45 metres out. The Blues need a spark, and there it is. Carlton win the clearance again. Cripps to Walsh. Walsh runs to 50. Goes for home. Long ball, straight ball. Everything he touches turns to gold, Sam Walsh.
Jones works it forward to Doherty. Saad, the kick to Eddie Betts on 50. He can kick to the lead of Owies, who takes the mark. It's good ball control from Carlton. 183 centimetres. Owies for his second. Steers it through. Tom Mitchell crumbed it. Run down by Owies just as he was about to get boot the ball. Gathered by Mitch Lewis. Hand pass to Bruce around the body. They eventually get the goal. Warple kicks inside the 50. Beautiful crumb from Luke Bruce. Textbook front and centre, and he dribbles through his second. Silvani on the southern wing. Kicks long to Dakota. Mackay. Oh, Harry dropped the mark. Eddie Betts waltzes through.
Out of the middle of the ground, O'Meara. Tumble punt forward for the Hawks. Morrison might run onto it. Jag, a late one. A snap. Oh, what a finish. Under pressure on the run, 40 metres out.
And that'll probably do us as Howe gathers. Kicks to the pocket. A lunging Bruce couldn't gather. It's going to bounce too. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I don't know how no one touched it. Oh.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport.
Second half getting underway at the MCG with Carlton leading Hawthorn by 3 points. The tap down and the first clearance for the Blues. Pitnet gets it away to Doherty. Doherty kicks inside the attacking 50 towards Silvani and Mackay. It's belted away over the boundary line by Hardwick. The Blues going to the city end in this third term. 8-3-51 to 7-6-48. Al Nicholson and Matt Clinch calling the action with Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas. Roger Aldridge down on the boundary. At Cardinia Park, the Cats are 6-1-37 leading Gold Coast 2-5-17 at the 24-minute mark of the second quarter there. We'll keep you across it. Out of defence come the Hawks from a stoppage inside 50. Warple kick towards the wing. No mark taken. Cousins gets it. Shirks and gets around one. Hand pass off to Mitchell, who's kicked down the line around the wing, is intercepted by Jones of the Blues. Comes back infield, dangerous kick, works out okay. Pitnet takes the mark on the line of the square.
Can feed the hand pass behind, works it to Newman and then to Sard across the defensive half-back line to Zach Williams, who goes for a dash. 2 bounces as he runs on the members' wing. Now a third as he gets to half forward. Ran his full measure. Long ball towards Harry Mackay. Spoiled away at the last moment by Hardwick. Silvani hard against the boundary trying to keep it in. He's tackled by Greaves. He's seen how to play in the right forward pocket.
See, no one comes to the ball carrier. Again, they all sit back and wait for a long kick in. It's too easy for the defence to knock it away. I mean, I don't know who coaches the forward line, but that's what you should be doing.
It's Cam Bruce, who we chatted to last week. Carlton deep in attack, leading by 3.
Get him on the line.
We spoke to him last week. Hardwick long out of defence. Kaczynski up, can't take the mark. Murphy tries to tap it towards Walsh. He's outnumbered 3-on-1. The numbers went out for Hawthorn. Kaczynski to Cousins. Underground hand pass from Impey. Creative. Warple 2 fends off. Dusty, if you don't mind. Kicks towards Wingard. Back with the flight. Good composure. Nick Newman underneath it. And he's a bit worse for where Warple is. Newman kicks in the middle of the ground.
Mark taken for Carlton by Setterfield. He feeds the hand pass to Sard. Sard towards the pocket. Decoding rises over the top of Frost. Didn't mark, did gather. Left foot snap at goal. Went straight into Eddie Betts, who was running shotgun. And it bounces out of play in the left forward pocket for the Blues. Carlton by 3. Early stages of the third quarter at the MCG. Pitnet and Reeves lock up. Pitnet palmed it down. Cripps bumped off it. Jath's hand pass out the back to Reeves, who feeds Warple by hand. He kicks Hawthorn to the back flank, and Mitch Lewis has taken the mark. Reeves in his first game, what have you made of his output so far?
He's been fine. He's big ruckman, obviously, so he's going to take time to settle in, but at his height, he's done some nice things.
He's had 5 disposals at this stage, but that's not his job.
Kaczynski spoiled the ball towards the boundary line. On all fours is Dylan Moore. He can't break clear from Doherty and Walsh, and the umpire will toss it up between wing and half forward on the southern side for the Hawks. It's the Blues leading by 3 points. After Hawthorn kicked 3 of the last 4 goals of the half to finish with a real flutter. Doherty punches it forward for the Blues, and Warple's onto it for the Hawks. Hand pass to Impey, retreats back to Mitchell. Hand pass to Cousins. There's no real way forward, so back to Warple, who now kicks a long ball towards the 50. McAvoy up in the pack, couldn't take the mark. Williams crumbs it. Great tackle from Mitch Lewis. I say great tackle, but it slipped over the shoulder. The intent was good. The execution not quite, and Carlton will take the free kick in the left back pocket with Zach Williams to take it.
Now, players are really good at lowering their body weight and just lift the arm up, and it gets around your neck, so it's just automatic almost.
Williams to the southern wing. Back with a flight. Doherty marks and plays on and runs away from Reeves. Has a bounce. Centre of the southern wing. Kicks Carlton to the half-forward flank. Jath worked his way to the front on Silvani and pulled in the mark. He's taken the most marks of any Hawthorn player this season. having a very good year, also averaging 21 disposals. Jath goes short. Mark taken by Impey, right half back flank. Shadows almost have completely gone across the MCG now from the members' side. Beautiful sunshine above. Through Hardwick, out to Phillips at left half back. He kicks to the members' wing, and Wingard goes for a trot. Kicks towards Moore, who slides in. He's got it. 70 from the Hawthorn goal.
They're running harder, Hawks, I tell you. Running
Moore
harder.
To a lead. Bruce is that leading option. Sard the spoil. Walsh got a hand pass out to Cripps. Under pressure. Turned it over by hand. Wingard could have been taken high. Got a hand pass out to Cousins. Off to Warple. Warple snaps and misses from 30 metres out. Big opportunity. Hawthorn a chance to go in front, but Warple can't find the finish. The margin 2 points. Carlton's way, 5 played of the third.
The Blues bring the ball back into play. Doherty into the back pocket, out till Silvani at left half back. The Blues around the southern wing to Gibbons, who marks on his chest.
Start running towards the ball carrier.
Silvani was able to put down Warple off the play and has run into space, but that's ignored. Gibbons plays on, long ball towards De Koning, and Eddie Betts in from the side, but Hardwick takes the mark for the Hawks onside on the top of the defensive 50. Kicks it back inside. Jaff, who feeds it to Mitchell, and now back to Hart again. Oh, risky kick out of defence, but it found the chest of Impey. He's still 45 metres out from his defensive goal, the city end of the MCG. Through the corridor to Warple, who takes the mark at right half back. Carlton leading by 2.
So Hawthorn in possession. Warple's told to play on. He took a long time to make his decision, and he kicks to the half-forward flank. That's a very strong mark in front by Lewis, and he got hammered into by 2 Blues. He's slow to rise. He can be well happy with his contested grab. One round the cheek. Lewis goes for territory to the forward pocket. Kajitsky and McAvoy. McAvoy one hand, not the second. Walsh roves. Bananas out of defence for the Blues. Lewis is in the frame again. Can't mark this time. Paddles it forward. Picked up in the pack. Brilliant work by Warple to get it forward and find the target of Moore. 45 out directly in front. Came through the pack, Warple, fended off an opponent and critically hit his target. The chance for Hawthorn to go in front again. Can Dylan Moore seize it? Kick 3 versus Essendon and Fremantle in round 1 and round 4 respectively. Here we are in round 10. Moore to put the Hawks ahead. Beautiful strike from outside 50. Gave it everything. And the Hawks are coming hard. They've kicked the last 3 and lead by 4 points. 8-7-55 Hawthorn. Carlton 8-3-51. 7 played third quarter. Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas.
Just some little danger signs now for the Blues. First, what are we? Nearly the 8-minute mark of this third quarter. Disposals 39 to 22. Contested ball 10-6. Tackles 4-3 in Hawthorn's favour. The clearances 4-1 in Hawthorn's, all in Hawthorn's favour early in this quarter.
They're running harder. You can see it clearly from half back to half forward to wherever you want to. They are outnumbering at the contest more. It's just happening, and the Blues are allowing it to happen.
And this is the knock-on effect from that second quarter. Late in that second quarter, they got some momentum. They got some confidence. Hawthorn.
James Warple up to 17 disposals. He had 9 of which in this third quarter. Mitchell gets the clearance for the Hawks, kicks to half forward, sliding in nicely with Stocker to win the ball at half back for the Blues. Hand pass into the middle of the ground. Cripps tackled, brought down, good effort. As McAvoy laid the tackle, but the follow-up tackle to Murphy will receive a free kick. Short to De Koning, I don't think that was 15. Plays on with a hand pass forward to Ed Curnow. How will he dispose of the footy? Kicks inside the 50. Gibbons used his body to nudge Phillips underneath and it gets to the back. Gathered by Pittner. The big ruckman turns on goal and puts it through. Must have felt like it was unfolding in slow motion, but he had enough time to gather, steady, kick it through. And Mark Pittner with the answering goal for Carlton. A much needed goal as the Hawks are starting to get a run on. And the Blues are back in front by 2 points. 9-3, 57 to the Hawks, 8-7, 55. 9 minutes gone. Third quarter on Grandstand AFL.
No doubt that they're running harder, the Hawks, and that was just a pit, and they picked that up. I didn't know he was going to get it to his boot at one stage, and did get it through, but that was a lucky one for them. But I'm worried about how they're handling themselves at this moment. I'm worried about how they're moving the ball. I'm worried about how they're sharing with and shepherding and working for each other. That's the part that gets me. And if you give the opposition a break, guess what? They'll take it. They're trying to get better. They are trying really hard to get better, the Hawks, and they're improving themselves every day.
McAvoy the tap down, Mitchell Rose, Walsh tackled him, dispossessed, fell for McAvoy. His hand pass didn't hit Impey. Murphy emerges for the Blues, kicks inside 50 and out he comes again. Pit nets, takes the mark, 45 from goal, 45-degree angle to the left. Roger Aldridge is on the boundary.
You'll remember late in that first quarter, Lockie Plowman came off favouring his right knee. He came back on at the start of the second, lasted till late in the second quarter. As the shot just goes on Blues goal now. I will send it up to you.
Good on you, Roger. Around the back, the hand pass came. And the finish from outside 50. Stocker couldn't find the major opening he missed on the left-hand side. So the margin Carlton's way is now 3 points at the 10-minute mark of the third quarter. Lockie Plowman, the situation down there with Rog.
In my monologue here, Alistair, but Lockie Plowman, he was favouring it again late in the second. He's just come off again. He's about 4 out of 5 lame if he was a horse. Hopefully none of the ones we've got left in the quaddie are.
Nicely done, Rog. Hardwick long out of defence of the Hawks. It's picked up by Sard, whose kick is wide at right half forward.
So the interesting part for the Blues right now, Harry Mackay sitting on the bench. Carlton, 9 goals for, 13 scoring shots. Harry Mackay is 0-0 at the moment. So Hardigan's doing a very good job. The Blues have got to find a way to get Mackay into the game, isolate him, give him space to move in.
He's had just the 2 kicks this afternoon, Harry Mackay. Rammer as O'Meara gathers for the Hawks on half-back. Hand pass to Phillips, long kick around the members' wing. Oh, Jones came charging out, could have collected Morrison high. Stocker gathers for the Blues, hand pass missed the target. In goes Scrimshaw, surely that's in the back. Umpire said no as the tackle was laid by Zach Williams. At the very bottom of that is Dylan Moore. Umpire will toss it up just wide of the AFL logo in the middle of the MCG. Carlton by 3.
McAvoy tapped it down in ruck, socket forward by O'Meara of Hawthorn. Clean pick up, Morrison in the heavy traffic. A hand pass out to Moore at left half forward. Gives to Mitchell. Now the forward 50 entry. Out comes Wingard, in front Jones. No mark, Hanrahan roves. Kicks towards goal, not enough penetration. Wiedering back. Gets in the road of it. At full-back for Carlton. His clearing ball to centre half-back. He was bumped as he kicked. Socket back inside 50 by Impey. Howe got it, gave to Impey. Off to Moore now, top of the 50. Back to Impey. Corralled, caught, hand pass to Moore. 55 from goal goes to Morrison. Just inside 50, hard on the boundary. Over on the southern side.
Should have went quick there, Morrison.
Yeah, he could have got
Nobody
away.
was on the mark. Now he's virtually right on the paint of the 50 and the boundary line, so it's a really, really difficult kick.
Harry Morrison has kicked 2 goals this afternoon. This would take something special from outside 50. He'll set it up towards the teeth of goal. Up they fly. Koschitzki hands to it. No mark. Still in the goal mouth for Hawthorn. Carlton under serious pressure. Murphy's hand pass hit no one. Moore gets it off to Koschitzki. Snaps towards goal and misses. Misses on the right-hand side from 30 metres out. The margin to Carlton is 2 points. And we've played 13 minutes of the third quarter on Grandstand AFL at the MCG. Down at Cardinia Park this afternoon, the Cats are playing the Suns. It's half-time there. The Cats lead by 13 points.
As always, add your thoughts on the SMS, 0437 774 774. Pete Neaglemont wants to know the free kick count. Carlton 15, Hawthorn 10, Pete. Long kick from Zach Williams into the middle of the ground. A free kick for a push, and it's going to go Hawthorn's way.
And the Hawks have had 27 possessions to 18 this quarter so far.
Big Ned Reeves to take it. Feeds the hand pass to Hardwick, who kicks inside the 50. Wiedering working in front, providing good support for Jones, although he fell over as he's backpedaling there. Takes the mark 15 metres out from his defensive goal. Gives the hand pass to Zach Williams, who drives the kick out of defence. Silvani up early against Scrimshaw. Off hands, it rolls out in front of Gibbons. And Tom Phillips for a boundary throw in. So Carlton by 2 points, 14 minutes gone, third term Grandstand AFL.
Mohammed in Chadstone says, typical Carlton performance this. They get a lead and think the job is done. Hawks are favourites from here. Thank you, Mohammed, for your contribution. Does have a worrying feel for Carlton. Hawthorn playing some good footy at the moment. Scrimshaw's hand pass didn't live up to that standard, though. He missed the target of Warple near the boundary line, and it goes over near the interchange. So Ned Reeves to go up in ruck against De Koning of Carlton. And Reeves the tap down. Warple underneath it. Sockers forward. Moore over it. Sard over him. Hanrahan comes through, can't pick up for Hawthorn. Sard's got possession of it. He's tackled, pushed it free of the pack. Back into congestion goes Scrimshaw. He rode the contest hard, got a boot to ball, but Fogarty in the road for the Blues. Hand pass, great pick up. Williams on the half volley, back point of the square. Tumble punt forward. 2 Blues on their own. He kicked it straight to Frost. Frost gallops away for the Hawks. He kicks to the wing. Bouncing ball taken by Howe. Comes back infield to Scrimshaw. Marks in the circle. And he rolls for Hawthorn. His hand pass, a terrible option. Greaves had Doherty with him. Doherty takes possession. His hand pass didn't hit a target. Hawks come up with it. Cousins gave it straight to Williams. This is you have it, I'll have it, you have it, I'll have it. Kick goes to the wing. Mackay there under pressure, held. No free kick. Hawthorn wins possession again. Howe to Frost. And the kick goes straight to Stocker of the Blues. That was dreadful play, that passage. Absolutely dreadful.
Carlton by 2 points as Stocker will kick long around the southern wing. Harry Mackay, the target, kept his feet. Flying was Frost as Frost regathers the footy. The ground level and kicks to O'Meara, sliding in down low. The Hawks have got something nice building. The hand pass to Scrimshaw. He kicked wide at the intended target. Moore tried to duck the tackle of Sard. The hand pass to Cousins, trying to feed it forward to Phillips. Moore will have to go again. He's thrown to the turf by Newman. Over the shoulder. Hawthorn will get another crack at it, just short of half forward. Dylan Moore to take it. So the Blues have got a couple loose in defence. Doherty's one and Williams is the other. Pitnet's pushed back as well. Long kick. Pitnet in from the side. Couldn't take the mark. Jones brought down by Kajitsky. Williams gathers for the Blues. Oh, Centerfield's hand pass. Miss Gibbons has to gather against the boundary line. Hanrahan pressures him. Screws it back. Up went Jaff. Couldn't come down with the footy. Scrimshaw scrapping for it. In comes Warple. He's bumped off it by Newman. Centerfield for the Blues. Hand pass to Fogarty. And now Cottrell off half back for Carlton.
Goes with a long one towards Mackay. A couple to beat. Rises, hands to it. Got a good piece. Couldn't complete the mark. Hardwick. Hand pass back into traffic. Jath knocked to his own advantage. Collected and walked it over the boundary in front of Roger Aldridge.
Yeah, Lockie Plowman has emerged from the rooms with heavier strapping on his right knee this time. He will go back out there. We'll see how long he lasts. Josh Honey, though, the medical sub, hasn't even got up for a jog so far this game, so you want to hope no one gets seriously injured.
Pitnet down to Cripps, took possession, tackled, dropped it, holding the ball.
Gee.
Did he actually take possession?
No, I don't think he did at all.
The question Cripps would ask the umpire as Reeves wins the free kick and hand passes to O'Meara. He kicks inside the 50 and standing in the hole is Williams of the Blues. Mitchell thinks he was held out of the contest. Short pass to Gibbons. Gibbons goes towards Owies. Left half back flank southern side. He's got Walsh breaking for him.
And Walsh can take the mark. Oh, sliding down low, it bubbled and now he's got to wrestle. The ground level Howe over the top, turns to the umpire, says there was no prior opportunity to pull it up. Sliding on his knees. If Walsh could have kept his feet, if the kick suited him, Carlton were into attack. So the inside 50's 11-6, Hawthorn's way in this third term, Ramos. So we spoke a lot about Carlton at half-time, but probably need to focus a bit on what Hawthorn are doing right, even though they haven't quite hit the lead yet. The kick around the wing from O'Meara bounces out of play just short of half forward. It sort of feels like at some stage Hawthorn are going to take the lead the way they're playing.
Yeah. They got 19 more disposals this quarter alone. Clearance is 10-2.
Toss back into play. Pitnet took it out of the ruck against Reeves. Cripps' kick ricochets off a Carlton player. Comes to Reeves. The hand pass to Mitchell. Kicks inside the 50. Great mark. Bruce back with the flight. Takes it. Out to the right, he'll kick from 40 metres out. Footy in the right man. Hands if you're a Carlton fan, if you're a Hawthorn fan. Kick 2 in the second quarter. Luke Bruce looking to return Hawthorn to the lead. Out to the right, kicks from 40, it's off to the left. Kajitsky will come in under play. Tackled holding the footy. Seemed certain he was going to kick a goal, and it was great work from Matt Owies on the last line.
Newman.
Was Nick Newman. Yeah, you're right.
Terrific Terrific concentration.
And he's going to get a fifth. No, I thought he was going to get 50, but it's just play on, and Carlton are out of defence through Nick Newman with a goal-saving tackle. Kaczynski thought he was running into an open goal. Assad kicks it out wide to left half-back, and the mark's taken by Cottrell.
So the Blues by 2 points. Hawthorn should be in front. We're approaching time on of the third quarter. Wiedering marks and goes very short to Newman in the corridor. Still inside defensive 50. Kicks to centre half back and Stocker. Stocker to Murphy. Murphy near the interchange. Chips over the top. Fogarty's on his own. He's got centre field as a short option. That's closed down by Frost. Kicks laterally to Plowman, who's been put together with strapping this afternoon.
He's got more tape on him than Cardigan Bay.
Plowman to Setterfield. Setterfield still 2 decent kicks from goal, but no clear option for him. Pitnet's a very deep target. Cripps is inside 50. He kicks to the pocket. A high ball. Up go the Flyers. Pitnet there. Punched out of play. A boundary throw in right forward pocket for Carlton down at the City end. The Blues 9-4-58 Hawthorn. 8-8-56. 20 and a half played of the third. How's the Morford Memorial Quaddie going, says one of our listeners. It's just going, and I mean by the width of a cigarette paper.
I think it was the pimple on the end of the horse's nose that got that one.
You know what, the way we're going, we'll stay involved any way we can. Bruce at half-back, sliding in low from the ricocheting kick out of defence for the Blues. Phillips lost it though, gathered by Cottrell, kicks a high ball inside the 50. Mackay comes charging out. He thought he was held, the umpire waves play on. O'Meara for the Hawks, gives the half pass to Mitchell. High kick to the southern wing. Plowman juggles the mark.
Good mark.
Had the mismatch on the smaller Dylan Moore. Kicks in the middle of the ground where Mark Murphy takes the mark. Where to now for Carlton? Kicks laterally. Owies comes out, spoiled away from him by Scrimshaw. Morrison comes in to make it a 2-on-1 Hawthorn's way. And Scrimshaw gathers. Hand pass to Mitchell. Back inside the defensive 50 to Hardigan. To Jaff. They're giving up ground. In the back pocket, dodges and weaves. To Hardigan.
That's
and bumpers it out of play.
Much better.
As Harry Mackay puts the pressure. A throw in right forward pocket for the Blues, who lead by 2 at the City end. 21 minutes gone, third term.
Umpire sets himself to throw it back into play. 2 big men ready to go. Reeves and Pitnet. Pitnet in front. Palmed it down cleverly to Setterfield, off to Murphy. He gathers near the top of the 50. Hand pass missed. Walsh. Walsh might still make something of it. Tackled. Got a hand pass to Murphy. 50 metres out. Kicks towards Gibbons. Marks. Strongly in front of the much taller Jaff. Gibbons 30 out directly in front.
Great.
Super kick.
Walsh again.
Super kick.
Super straight to the top of the square. Didn't think about even going for goal. He wasn't selfish.
That was
Put it in the
Murphy.
right spot. Was it Murphy, was it?
Walsh dished it out to Murphy.
Right.
Got the hard ball. Walsh dished it to Murphy. Super kick by Murphy.
Yeah, well done.
Gibbons sizes things up. Wipes his hands on his shorts. Now walks in towards the City end to give Carlton an 8-point lead. Directly in front. Gibbons goals. Carlton moves to 10-4-64. Hawthorn 8-8-56. Mick Malden says Cardigan Bay didn't need tape, Mark, but glad to hear his name. 0437 774 774.
It's like a leaky boat then, whatever you want.
What I like is Carlton, they're not having a great quarter. Hawthorn are on top of this quarter, but it's now 2 goals 1 to 1 goal 2 in Carlton's favour. Still a little bit of time, still a couple of minutes to go in this quarter, but they're just holding. They're holding the damn wall at the moment, the Blues. We felt like halfway through Sal's about to break. Hawthorn were about to dominate, but they've done well, Carlton, just to hold on.
The tackle in the goal square is an indication of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Big change, turn around, more contest, more competitive, and that's what you're looking for.
As you look at it, contested footy, Hawthorn plus 10.
Yeah, everywhere.
Clearances, Hawthorn plus 9.
Yep, everywhere.
The big parts of the game, Hawthorn are comfortably winning this quarter.
Half-time at Kardinia Park. The Cats leading the Suns by 13 points. Setterfield gets the clearance for the Blues. Kicks to half forward. Eddie Betts charging out and flying right on the attacking 50. And he's off. Veers out to the right. Long kick to the goal mouth to Koning and Mackay both there. Free kick shove.
Free kick somewhere.
And it's going to go Carlton's way with one of their key targets. It's going to be Harry.
Now, he has been pushed around a bit today. Hardigan's done a really good job and disguised it well, but sometimes you just cannot disguise it properly, especially in front of goals.
He's wanted to wrestle a lot today, Harry.
I know.
2 kicks for the game. Make it 3 as he kicks his first goal. Leading the Coleman medal with 34 goals for the season. An important goal in time on for the Blues at the 25-minute mark of the third quarter. The Blues skip out by 14, 11-4-70 to Hawthorn, 8-8-56.
That's probably the first occasion, really, where Mackay's had a chance to jump at the ball. And that worries Hardigan.
It does.
Because he's not athletic. He can't jump with Mackay in those big contests there.
He didn't look at the ball.
No, that's right.
That's the dead
You're gone.
giveaway
You're
straight
dead.
away. And well done, because then you take the... he's got to move more, Harry. To me, he's going to stand still. You've got to move this bloke around. Take him up, take him back, take him where he doesn't want to go.
And that's been his great strength. That's been his strength this year, Clichy.
As a forward, that's what you have to do. Stand still, you get hurt.
Hawthorn had hit the front at the 7-minute mark of this quarter for the first time today. The Blues have responded with the next 3. Hawthorn the clearance though. Warple to Wingard. Wingard's left foot kicks a real up and under. Phillips underneath it. Sard punches for the Blues. Knocked forward by Warple, but straight to Williams. Williams left foot tumbler around the members' wing. Murphy getting there. The ball evades him. Took a right angle bounce and goes out of play. Attacking side of the interchange for the Blues. Members side of the MCG. Thrown back into play. Reeves and Pitnet engage again. Reeves the tap down. Cripps and Warple underneath it. Both fighting for the ball. Cripps rumbles it out. Howe there, couldn't get it. Warple did. Farmed the hand pass out to Mitchell. Kicks Hawthorn to the half-forward flank. A one-on-one. Lewis opposed to Newman. Had the height advantage. Newman with strength. Knocked it to ground level. Doherty took it. He's tackled by Cousins. A ball up between wing and half-forward for the Hawks. Carlton 11-4-70. Hawthorn 8-8-56 through 26 minutes of the third quarter.
Pitnet wins down the tap. Trying to get it to Doherty. Cousins got in the middle. It ricochets off the bootlaces of Walsh, and Mitchell's kick off the outside of the boot. Trying to spiral it in. He's claiming it was touched. The umpire says it was. It was. So he's managed to convince everyone that there was a fingertip on it. It seemed it was a free kick out on the full. So throw in, 45 metres out from Hawthorn's goal at the punt road end. The Blues by 14. Toss back into play. Pitnet goes uncontested in the end. Lewis too slow to realise they didn't have a ruckman there. Wingard gathers for the Hawks on half forward. Hand pass to Greaves, left then right, into the pocket. The kick looking for Lewis. Flew couldn't take the mark. Nicely read by Newman. Hand pass back to Doherty, smothered. Sard is hustled out of play by Howe. Good pressure from the Hawks to lock the footy inside their attacking 50.
Been pretty good, the Hawks.
27-minute mark of the third quarter, and Carlton by 14 points. Hawks in attack to the punt road end. Palm down to Stocker. Stocker tackled immediately by Bruce. We'll have another ball up. Can the Hawks find another red time goal to draw back, as they did in the second quarter? Reeves reaches over the top, down to Wingard, through the pack, left foot kick, bouncing ball. Jones needs to touch it and does so. Well, that was at risk of being the type of bounce that evaded Lockie Whitfield last week. But Jones just got a hand to it and saw it through for a minor. The margin is back to 13.
Jones quickly dashes out of defence and then carefully waits his kick to Eddie Betts, who marks on the defensive 50. 28 minutes gone, third term. Blues by 13 points. Betts long to De Koning. In Heineken from the side. Gives good support to McAvoy and sees it out of play. So boundary throw in front of the two benches. Just below our commentary position here at the MCG. Carlton 11-4-70. The Hawks 8-9-57. Toss back into play. Reeves tries to get to the front, but Pitnet works him out of it. Taps it down to the front. Walsh on all fours. Tries to knock it out. Warple over the top of him. Then Walsh somehow emerged with it. Got the hand pass to Doherty. Kicks long towards Mackay and Hardigan. Mackay started behind. Juggled it with one hand and he's off. Veers out to the left. The kick is not a good one for Cottrell. But he's back to the footy, but does gather eventually. Hand pass to Sard on 50. Now to Curnow. Ran into Impey. Somehow jams it on the left boot. High kick to Coney, back with the flight. McAvoy spoiled it away. And Curnow laying on the deck just threw a boot at it. Rolled it forward 3 or 4 metres, and then Mark Murphy held when he wasn't in possession.
That's dangerous. Yep.
Carlton are going to get a shot after the three-quarter time siren. It's going to be costly, given for a lot of the work Hawthorn did, as Al touched on. hit the front at the start of the third quarter.
How about Kerno's kick when he was laying on his back?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Unusual.
So Mark Murphy receives the free kick. Tackle went on in possession. Pretty much directly in front. 40 metres out. The former Carlton captain looking to deliver a blow after the three-quarter time siren. Murphy, good kick. Much to the delight of the Carlton fans. And they come from everywhere to celebrate with Mark Murphy in his 16th season. Game 293. And an important goal for the Blues after the siren of three-quarter time to give them some confidence and comfort. 12-4-76 to Hawthorn 8-9-57. The margin is 19 points at three-quarter time. For the Blues, 2 goals to Eddie Betts and Matthew Owies. Individual goals to Silvani, Murphy, Williams, to Koning, Mackay, Gibbons. Meanwhile, for the Hawks, their goals have come through. 2 to Morrison and 2 to Luke Bruce. Individuals to Mitch Lewis, Howe and Kaczynski.
So that's the state of play at the MCG down at Cardinia Park. The Suns have got the first goal of the third quarter and they're making Geelong very honest. They're 3 minutes into the third term and it's the Cats 6-1, only really leading through accuracy. Gold Coast 4-6, so the Cats by 7 points over the Suns at the moment. Cameron and Duncan have 2 goals for the Cats, the only multiple goal kickers in the game. Hawkins 1 and Tui 1. For Gold Coast, Corbett, King, Greenwood and Zach Smith playing for the Gold Coast Suns again. Had some time with the Cats as well. He's kicked a goal for Gold Coast. On 0437774774, Fran in Melbourne says Carlton are doing exactly the same as the Pies. Fall away towards the end. It's not only the Blues and it is frustrating. And Fran had sent that text clearly just before that last goal to Mark Murphy that gave the Blues a bit of breathing space. A lot of Carlton players should be told to join Taylor Harris at her new club, says one listener. 0437774774. Just a few thoughts coming in as we roll through the day. We'll go to Roger Aldridge briefly down on the boundary.
Roger's gone for a Tosca.
Are you there, Rog?
Nope.
Yes. Rog, we got you?
No, he's not there.
We'll go back to Roger Aldridge in just a moment downstairs on the boundary. 0437774774 if you want to get in touch. 12-4-76 Carlton, Hawthorn 8-9-57 at three-quarter time on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Open your ears to the world with the ABC Listen app. Australia's best scientists and comedians join forces in the pop test.
Sorry, we're being told that our science show is getting too nerdy, so...
Join Triple J's Hobber and Hing as they challenge Aussies to deliver their most elaborate yarn in Simply the Jest, or tackle all the mayhem in the sporting world with Roy and HG in Bludging on the Blind Side.
How do you go with the maths there?
Oh, I'm not going to question the maths.
No,
I'm going to accept it.
Download the ABC Listen app today.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
More to put the Hawks ahead. Beautiful strike from outside 50.
Plays on with a hand pass forward to Ed Curnow. How will he dispose of the footy? Kicks inside the 50. Gibbons used his body to nudge Phillips underneath and it gets to the back. Gathered by Pittner. The big ruckman turns on goal and puts it through.
Got a hand pass to Murphy, 50 metres out, kicks towards Gibbons, marks strongly in front of the much taller Jath. Gibbons 30 out directly in front. Gibbons goals.
Long kick to the goal mouth to Koning and Mackay both there. Free kick shove.
Free kick somewhere.
And it's going to go Carlton's way with one of their key targets. It's going to be Harry. 2 kicks for the game. Make it 3 as he kicks his first goal. Looking to deliver a blow after the three-quarter time siren. Murphy, good kick. Much to the delight of the Carlton fans.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Three-quarter time at the MCG. Carlton 12-4-76, Hawthorn 8-9-57. After this, we'll take you to the Adelaide Oval. It's the Crows and the undefeated D's, and there to preview the action, Aaron Bryans.
Our beautiful conditions here at the Adelaide Oval. Not a cloud in the sky, a top of 22 expected, but it is a one-sided game on paper. But there's plenty of storylines to look forward to. It actually really could be an afternoon for the record books. Melbourne looking to start the year 10-0. Only 11 teams have been able to do so in their history, in the history of the AFL VFL. 10 of them became grand finalists, and 6 of them won the premiership at the end of the year. So Melbourne hoping that history will favour them and they can win this afternoon and head towards a top 4 finish. Meanwhile, the Crows, they're hoping to avoid a 6-game losing streak, and they've done that just 5 times in their history. So they've got a rough month ahead with games against Richmond and St Kilda to come, and this afternoon's one definitely won't be an easy one at home. There is a late change here as well. So Christian Salem is out due to soreness, so Neville Jetta comes in for his first game since round 4 for the Demons. No late changes for the Crows. So Ronan O'Connor is their sub. Tom Sparrow is the sub for the Demons, and they're spelt for choice up forward today. So they've dropped Ben Brown. Luke Jackson will come in for them. Meanwhile, the Crows will welcome back Taylor Walker and Ned McHenry. I'll be calling alongside Neil Cross, your experts, later this afternoon as well. Scott Camporelli and Rod Jamieson with James Coventry on the boundary. It's Melbourne up against Adelaide coming up next here at the Adelaide Oval. Al.
Good on you, Aaron. Aaron Bryant's there at the Adelaide Oval. Mark McClure and Adam Ramanaskas at the MCG.
Well, the Blues actually won the quarter 4-1, really. And at the start of the quarter, they were in a lot of trouble when Moore kicked that first goal. But then they just fought and fought. There was a little fight in the goal square and they punched the ball through. But then they won the next one with the next 4 goals to finish the quarter and give themselves a nice lead going into the last.
And that lead stands at 19 points as we start the last quarter. Cripps has had little room to breathe. He's received it from the tap, tackled by Mitchell, got it out. Walsh a high ball towards the wing. Betts there, he's barrelled by Greaves. Ball spills out. Wingard's hand pass, missed the target. Doherty fights to win it back. He can't find a target. O'Meara picks up, dumped by Walsh, a ball up down beneath us on the wing. Adam Ramanaskas.
Oh, again, I thought actually Hawthorn dominated that quarter in terms of contested football, tackles, clearances. But to the Blues' credit, they held firm. And to be able to win that quarter, terrific. So now, look, it's a handy lead, but this game's from far over.
Wingard clears from the stoppage, kicks to half forward. Newman comes in to win it. He's tackled by Moore. And we'll have another ball up, slightly Hawthorn's attacking side of the wing. One of our listeners telling us Duncan subbed out at halftime with concussion at the Cattery, so thanks for that update. Reeves taps it down for Hawthorn. Mitchell underneath, tackled by Curnow, knocked out the side. Doherty emerges for the Blues, a helicopter kick. Tom De Koning there at left half forward, caught by Frost, got a hand pass infield, straight to Scrimshaw. Scrimshaw to Greaves, what was he thinking? He had Betts on his hammer, but Greaves did well to shake Betts. Off to O'Meara, off to Frost, and back to O'Meara, who goes short to Mitchell.
He works it in the middle of the ground where Scrimshaw's kick is low and precise to Hanrahan. He's going to continue straight down the corridor. Kajitsky the target, Wiedering it from the side. Hitting it with speed was Moore, couldn't pick it up. Newman's hand pass back to Sard, puts him under pressure. Bruce trying to pressure them to make him error. As Newman has to try and knock it to Pitnet, who got back to offer support. Bruce still trying hard. Moore lays the tackle. Hanrahan pitches it. Flying shot on goal out to the left forward pocket in the end. Cottrell has to see it out of play in front of Phillips. Hawthorn deep in attack. In the city end of the MCG, Carlton leading by 19 points. As the boundary umpire set to throw it back into play. Pitnet up against McAvoy. McAvoy punches towards the goal mouth. Bruce running onto it. He'll run into the open goal and kick his third. What another defensive lapse from the Blues, and that was all far too easy for Luke Bruce. He is such a classy player, and no doubt a word or two to McAvoy. Put it into my area and I'll do the rest, and he did just that. Carlton's lead back to 13 points. 12-4-76 to the Hawks, 9-9-63 with the first goal of the final term going the Hawks' way.
That was textbook for Bruce. But they left the front of the stoppage open. Bruce runs straight through the front. They knock it straight to the front. Bruce gets a goal easily. It's incredible how they didn't stop that, and they didn't stop his run forward. You must block that side that goes towards goals, but no one there at all, and Bruce gets it easily. Unbelievable.
He's a smart player.
Very clever.
So direct opponent won, but you've got to be setting up defensively on that defensive side of the contest. Because that was a perfect. He had a streak to work in there.
From the middle of the ground, Wingard knocks it when it hit the deck, but Carlton emerged with it. Walsh, high clearance to centre half forward. Scrimshaw worked his way to the front, couldn't mark. Murphy the spoil. Silvani there, couldn't collect. Then he drags O'Meara off it. Mitchell over it. Murphy over him. Ball locked in, approaching centre half forward for Carlton. Roger Aldridge will go down to you on the boundary.
Well, thankfully, Stu, our tech, has fixed the curtain and can get the mics working now too. But Lockie Plowman had the jacket on at three-quarter time. We thought he was in, obviously, some concern around his knee. Word back from Carlton was he was just cold. But pretty irresponsible behaviour given we're hanging so highly anticipating a medical sub here.
Scrimshaw from half-back, kicks to Hanrahan, who takes the mark at left half-back. Carlton by 13 points. Only Hanrahan with a couple of behinds this afternoon. Chad Wingard with a couple of behinds. Kicks towards McAvoy at half forward. Spoiled away by Jones. Dylan Moore gathers. Hand pass to Cousins. It comes to McAvoy. Now to Hanrahan. In the middle of the ground. The hand pass to Impey. Opens up the path forward. Kicks a long ball inside the 50. A couple to beat for Howe. He did well against Betts. Brought it to ground, but Doherty gathers. Hand pass to Ed Curnow. Curnow on the defensive 50. Chips it into space for Gibbons to run onto it.
Gibbons, defensive side of the members' wing for the Blues. He kicks to the half-forward flank. Silvani in front, rises, pulls it in. Good mark from Jack Silvani in front of Scrimshaw. And now the kick in the Mackay and Cripps direction. They both rise against each other. Where was the communication? Cripps did brilliantly. Hand pass to Murphy, confronted, caught! Just got his hands clear, but they turn it over. Frost to Mitchell. Hand pass at the bootlaces of Phillips. He's under pressure. Farms it back. Mitchell kicks on the bounce out to the back flank. Kajitsky there. Carlton really should be lining up for goal, either Cripps or Mackay. They work it back. Phillips to the back pocket and Impey takes the mark. That sort of sums up Carlton in a way. I just noticed a text, Sellers. Growing up in the early 80s watching Carlton, it just seems there's no mateship anymore. Now too professional, no fun, says one of our listeners. But
I'll give you a bit of mail.
The synergy's lacking, it seems.
I'll give you a bit
of
mail. There's no general in the forward line. That's the key. You need to have someone who directs the traffic and get it set up.
No communication on that occasion.
O'Meara long out of defence for the Hawks. Up to the wing, it clears the pack. Wiedering's able to rove it best for the Blues, but puts it out on the full.
Row 3.
There's a row 3, where it was dropped by one of the punters there. Perfect autumn afternoon for footy here at the MCG. The kick to Impey, dropped the mark. Carlton can take it back through Cottrell. Feeds the hand pass to Gibbons at right half forward. Tries to pull his kick towards to Koning. He's tackled by Frost like a ragdoll, holding the footy. Great work from Sam Frost. Now can he turn defence into attack? He kicks over the head of Morrison. Can't pull in the mark. Plowman lays the tackle. Walsh slides in for Carlton. Morrison comes in to lay the tackle. Umpire circles. Oh no, it's going to play hold the footy. Morrison's going to take it in the middle of the MCG. Kicks laterally to Greaves and the Hawks can move it forward from the members' wing.
Greaves advances 10 metres, sends his right boot through it. Wingard initiates body contact, holding his ground. Newman almost pulled in the mark for Carlton. It spills to the side of the pack. Doherty, a hand pass to Sard. Paddles, picks up, feeds it through. Off to Silvani. Off to Plowman. Back to Silvani. Centre of the members' wing. An awkward kick. Betts will gather on the bounce. Hand pass to Mackay. Got to Koning over the top. He brushes Scrimshaw. Hand pass missed Silvani. Reeves picks up. Off to Greaves. Luckily not in the long sleeves. He's turned it over terribly. Sard takes the mark at left half back for Carlton. Into the middle, centre field. He misses Walsh. This is Benny Hill all over. Walsh is mown down by McAvoy. Calamity everywhere. Picked up by Cousins. Off to Mitchell. Perhaps Wingard could do something. Dropped a sitter. Bounced off his chest. Oh no, erase this from memory, please. Carlton over at top of the 50, pushing the back. A Carlton free kick to end a passage of play. Stocker to take it that I never ever hope to think about again.
Was it good, was it?
Al Nicholson doing some of his best work. As commentators, we try and rise with our voice when action's about to unfold, but there's so many times today where it's...
Hang on, you have a look at the kick then.
Eventuated to nothing.
That's
Newman's
mic drop action. I'm gone.
It was behind Wiedering, so he had to go back and gather it. Kicks it around the southern wing. Impey intercepts for Hawthorn. Hand pass to Hardwick, who brushes a tackle. Middle of the southern wing. Drives a long kick towards half forward. Kajitsky spoils it down. They've got Crummers. Morrison gathers. Blazes away inside the 50. No one's there.
Got some numbers back for a change.
Sard takes an uncontested mark. Off with 2 bounces before he ran 15 metres and then chips it to Fogarty, who takes the mark at left half back for the Blues. Carlton by 13 points. Hawthorn kicked the first goal of the final term through Luke Bruce. It was his third. So another one for the Hawks that make things really interesting. Sard over the top to Fogarty. Carlton still at left half back. And Silvani for a moment ignored that. He's called to play on, so Greaves will charge at him. Fogarty kicks to the wing where Greaves was shoved out of it by Pitnet. Frost gathers at the back. Underground hand pass to Moore into the corridor to Mitchell, back to Moore through traffic. It might just work. Cousins' hand pass back to Moore over the shoulder. He ran the gauntlet and he got away with it. Takes the free kick and gives the hand pass to Tom Mitchell.
Mitchell to Jath. Jath confronted, hand pass, puts his teammate in a bind. O'Meara gave it up to Gibbons, strongly tackled. Cousins nailed him.
No one wants the ball, do they?
Push and shove on now, the feelings arrived.
It's the mistakes by both teams in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it just tells you where they're at.
Yep.
Tossed up, Reeves and Pitnet. Setterfield from the back of the pack, high kick underneath it. Scrimshaw should intercept this. It's Clanger Central.
It is.
Scrimshaw on the left half-back flank. Roger Aldridge on the boundary. Clean things up, Rog.
Yeah, here's the latest one for you guys to ponder. The latest sign from the Carlton bench, a yellow school bus.
Whoa. The Joker, the school bus. What's going on down there? I mean, this is pantomime stuff.
We'll just keep trying to call the footy as best we can. Carlton leading by 13 points as the Hawks are going to take it a left half-back. Tom Phillips.
Are they parking the bus, the Blues, trying to protect their 13-point lead?
I wouldn't think so. There's a long way to go. 20 minutes to go.
Phillips' long kick from half-back. It's a wobbly kick, which Wiedering's able to spoil it down. Morrison couldn't pick it up. Murphy gathered tackle when not in possession. Sock it off the ground. It won't amount to anything as the mark. He's taken it right half-back. Nick Newman takes the mark. With the left elbow heavily strapped, he kicks back inside the defensive 50. Zach Williams in the fluorescent pink boots has it in the right back pocket for Carlton.
Williams urges movement. Kicks to Stocker. So actually urged Walsh to move towards the southern side to free up Stocker. Stocker now into the middle to Cripps. Cripps thought about a hand pass back to Williams. Burst through the centre corridor. Penetrating kick to De Koning. One-on-one with Frost. They engage. Frost makes the spoil. At the back, he's taken without it by Owies. No free kick to Frost. They spill in around the ball. It's 20 metres from the Carlton goal. We'll have a ball up.
Tom Mitchell's up to 40 possessions in this game. 20
numbers.
kicks, 20 handballs. The next closest Hawthorn player is Warple at 21.
Blues by 13. Betts off the pack. Gave to Walsh. Loopy hand pass picked off by Impey of Hawthorn. His hand pass into space. He'll run onto it himself. He's dragged down without it. Free kick against Walsh. Impey on the right half-back flank. Moves it infield dangerously. Williams spoils away from Moore. Murphy collects. Backpack style. O'Meara launched onto him. Ball dropped out. They spill in. Scrimshaw had it, lost it. Williams gets it, gives to Curnow, jams it on his left boot. Frost will intercept in the corridor. 40 from the goals. He's defending at the punt road end.
Kicks out of defence towards Howe, charging out Jones, couldn't get a boot to it, and Wingard emerges with it, takes a bounce on the members' wing, gets to half forward, drives a kick towards Hanrahan, couldn't just pull it in at the last moment. Plowman did enough, he gathers the footy, hand passes out of defence into the path of Gibbons, offering chases Lewis. Gibbons got good support from Wiedering. Kicks a high ball out of defence. Harry Mackay in one direction. Reeves the other for Hawthorn. Reeves takes the mark. Hand pass to Howe, who chips it to Wingard. It's 55 metres out from goal at right half forward.
Both teams are getting very tired.
They sure are.
A lot of hands on knees, heads down.
Kajitsky and Lewis both deep. Kicks towards Lewis. Pitnet planted himself in front of him and spoils it out of play. A throw in the right forward pocket for the Hawks at the city end.
So there's one player behind centre here.
Carlton by 13.
It's Frost. All other players are within 60 metres of each other.
In it spins. Pitnet the tap. Who's going to shark it? Warple tackled. Might have another ball up. 30 metres from the Hawthorn goal at the city end. 12-4-76 Carlton. Hawthorn 9-9-63. 13-minute mark last quarter. Grandstand AFL on ABC Sport. Up it goes. Pitnet and Lewis. No decisive knock. Lewis gets it, fends away from one, gives it to Cousins, who snaps and misses the lot. Puts it into a bay of Hawthorn supporters in the Ponsford stand. A Carlton free kick to be taken by Williams. Check out the score at Cardinia Park. Geelong taking on Gold Coast down the highway. And Geelong now out to an 18-point lead. Jeremy Cameron's kicked 3. And they are 21 minutes into the third quarter.
Zach Williams long out of defence. Silvani flew from the side, couldn't come down with a footy. Chance for the Hawks to try and break on half forward. Scrimshaw was tackled and thrown to the turf. Paddy Cripps laying the tackle. So it is Hawthorn with 2 wins, Carlton with 3 wins, and both sides desperate in this final quarter to try and change that. Howe gathers, kicks around his body for the Hawks to half forward. Wingard had it spoiled away by Plowman. Walsh emerges with it. Hand pass back inside the defensive 50 to Williams. He hurries a kick high to half back. Gibbons underneath. Howe spoils it towards the boundary line, and in the end Gibbons just tapped it over. Hawks players turn to the umpire. He thought about it.
Yeah.
Didn't disguise it all that well, Howe. In the end he says throw it in.
What he's supposed to do.
Sorry, Gibbons who knocked it out.
Yeah, but I didn't know what he was actually supposed to do because he was actually walking over the line at the same time.
McAvoy, a good knockdown to Mitchell. Tackled by Walsh. Just got a hand pass out. Good use of the body. Cousins edged out his opponent. Kicks high inside 50 for Hawthorn. Kazitsky can't mark. Stocker Rose for the Blues. Hand pass to Williams. Having good touches in the last quarter. Kicks towards Owies. He's there with Jath on the back flank. Owies edged out Jath. Bounce evaded him. Jath almost had it. Lost it. Goes again. Tackled by Cottrell. Did brilliantly. Hand pass away to Morrison. Into the middle he goes to Warple. Curnow knocks him off it.
Good
Scrimshaw
contest.
lends a hand.
Great contest.
Hand pass to Warple. He's caught again. Fogarty nails him. Crowd want ball. Umpire says, I'll have the ball. Middle of the MCG. It's ratcheting up a cog or two here. Carlton by 13.
Great work by Curnow. 2-on-1.
Tom De Koning into the ruck for the Blues. One down the tap to Ed Curnow, was taken high. Carlton fans feel like they've been on the wrong end of it from the umpires' side of things in the last quarter. Free kicks have been Hawthorn's way, 5-2. Gives the hand pass to Plowman.
That's better.
Spots a free player on 50. It's Owies. He feeds the hand pass back to Plowman. Hand pass over the top to Cottrell. Right forward pocket. Eyes the goals. Misses to the right-hand side. Carlton fans at the punt road end thought it looked good off the boot. It wasn't. It's a 14-point lead. Carlton's way at the 16-minute mark of the final term.
Hardwick's going to kick in for Hawthorn. Scrimshaw's a short option, but the leg's not to go there. Bruce just on the ground might be an option. On the half-back flank he goes towards Howe initially. Doherty the spoil. Fogarty comes in. Howe did well. Knocked it forward, then took possession. Now he's tackled. He's lying upon it. The umpire shows some leniency and will ball it up at left half forward for the Blues. Adam Ramanaskas.
You look at that kick from Hardwick there out of full back. We're about 7.5 minutes remaining in this game. Take the risk now. Straight up the middle of the ground. Try to score.
McAvoy the tap, Setterfield the rove, dropped it under pressure from Mitchell, picked up again, and Mitchell and Warple escort him over the boundary line. 55 from the Carlton goal, the push and shove. There's definitely a little more heat in this game than there was because it is very much still on the line despite Carlton's 14-point lead. 16 played final quarter on Grandstand AFL with Alistair Nicholson, Adam Ramanaskas, Mark McClure, Roger Aldridge and Matt Lynch.
Toss back into play. Tom De Koning up against McAvoy. McAvoy won it down. Doherty dumped in a tackle by Warple. The ball spills clear. Ed Curnow emerges. Great smother from Cousins. As neither side are taking a backward step in this final term, which is now 17 minutes old.
Actually, I'm enjoying the contest, to tell you the truth. Sue gets out. Sue breaks away.
The skills haven't been at their best display throughout the last quarter, but it has been tight and tense. As the Hawks through Howe, taps it towards Impey on half-back. The hand pass to Bruce. He's been impressive. 3 goals. He's got a vacant 50. Kicks it inside there, hoping Kazitsky will run onto it. Jones off his chase. Kazitsky got it. Jones got him. Threw him into the turf and holding the footy. Oh, I don't think there was much prior there, running at full pelt. The umpire rewarding the tackler there. And the Hawks penalised, and Jones to take it in the right back pocket.
Jones to the southern side of the MCG. Morrison to try and chip in front of Cottrell, does so, sees it out of play. Hawthorn's attacking side of the southern wing. 12-5-77 Carlton. Hawthorn 9-9-63. A game that in terms of the development of the lists, Carlton needed to win this afternoon. Hawthorn has very much acknowledged it's in a rebuild at the moment. O'Meara off the stoppage, tried to fend away from Cottrell, dropped the ball. Setterfield swooped. Kick Carlton forward, back with a flight, almost a mark taken by Frost. Silvani emerges, kicks to Betts. Eddie takes the mark, 40 out directly in front.
That is a super kick by Jack Silvani. Super kick. He was the one Carlton player in that contest that stayed down. His direct opponent went into the contest, crashed in. He stayed down. Could have easily blazed away to a vacant goal square, but composed Sellers.
They've had some big hits in this area, this contest. They're all going for it.
Eddie Betts has played in 18 games against Hawthorn. He has only ever played in 2 wins against the Hawks. His kick at goals off the outside of the boot and through for a minor score. So Carlton yet to put Hawthorn away, a lead of 15 points at the 19-minute mark of the last.
They've got to have a go down the middle, don't they?
They need to try and create something here, Hawthorn. Hardwick plays on. Silvani didn't buy his bluff and charged at him, so has to kick long out of defence. Mitch Lewis crashed the pack. He gets to the back where Plowman gathers on the wing. Kicks off the fat part of the footy, and it's too wide for Fogarty. I think. Oh, it is. Your eyesight is on fire today. I thought that was out.
Oh, it looked out, but it must have bounced from the line.
It did.
Do you want to? Here's the binoculars.
I don't need them.
Take over. Carlton by 15.
Certain about the 79 grand final and that knock-in from Harms. He's always maintained it was
third
in.
row.
Malcolm Blight's kick was only 40 metres.
It was.
Hawthorn try and move it around the wing. Kajitsky and Phillips are there fighting for it. Williams over the top of Phillips, still in play. Umpire will ball it up literally. How many centimetres, Sellers, with your expertise from the boundary line?
6.
6 centimetres in.
How far's that? I'm still in inches and metres.
How many chains, Sellers? A few chains would help Carlton. Doherty to Stocker. Stocker inside 50. Out comes Mackay. Pulls it in with one arm up against his shoulder. He's 55 from goal and he's signalling, I'll have a shot, thank you. I am the Coleman medal leader.
Let me tell you, that's his first solid mark, I reckon. Remember, for the whole game. Taking a couple of marks only, and that was a beauty at the right time.
4 marks for the game only. Coming up for possession number 6.
We know he's a thumping kick. Harry Mackay, left of centre. Man on the mark, 51 metres out. He'll have to kick this about 60. Starts at left, coming back. Monstrous effort. Goal! Mackay, arms outstretched. All his teammates come to celebrate with him. That's the game breaker. The moment that puts Hawthorn away. Mackay's 35th goal of the season. And he smoked it through from well outside 50. Carlton 13-6-84. Hawthorn 9-9-63. 21 play to the last.
Well, I don't care how many kicks he's had. That was an important one.
Your moment. It's your moment.
Exactly right. It's all about moments in this game. And the moment was on. Took the mark. He took it on himself. Outside 50. He's a massive kick. Yeah. Outside 50. He absolutely brilliant kick. And went over the line by 5 metres. That is unbelievable. This kid's got so much talent. There's a lot of people who want to get hold of him. He hasn't had a great day. Hardigan's probably had his match at this stage. But gee whiz, when required, they call it WR.
For a match in which it's failed to reach any lofty heights, it was a signature moment from the man leading the Coleman medal. Hawthorn quickly inside the 50 through Tom Mitchell. Stocker getting back, trying to tap it away from Brewston. Newman, who's been good this afternoon. Hand pass to Sard, to Doherty around his body. Kicks to the wing and it'll be coming back as Impey takes the mark on his chest. Carlton by 21 points. 22 minutes gone, final term. Kicks inboard to Morrison, couldn't take the mark. Sard pinched it. Kicks along towards Eddie Betts, 2-on-1. Hardwick with his back to the footy and Frost came in from the side. Takes the intercepting mark. Hardwick rolled the dice, got the leniency from the umpire. Kicks to Jaff and then back to Hardwick, who's running hard at centre half back, and he gathers the footy with a hand pass to Tom Mitchell. Possession number 43 coming up.
Kicks to the wing, O'Meara the target. Huge collision from Plowman. Both players filled. Carlton wins possession. Murphy to Newman. O'Meara has not moved. He's out. Plowman struggling to get to his feet. Walsh receives, kicks towards Betts, top of the 50. Out comes Frost, sees it out of play. Jager O'Meara has not moved, having been collected by Lockie Plowman. He's in a lot of trouble over on the southern wing.
Doesn't look good at all. I think they might stop the game, will they?
Big collision. Kick went towards O'Meara. Coming the other way, Plowman. That was like a T-bone. And O'Meara has been rolled onto his back. The trainer's quickly out there helping him to his feet. He's up. That's a good sign, but he is all over the place, Jaeger O'Meara. And he's going to be missing some football again, unfortunately. That's been an all too common theme for a very gifted player.
Massive.
Ball's gone out of play, right half forward for the Blues, as Jaeger O'Meara is now into a bit of a jog, making his way off the field, but all the way from the southern side. He's got a good 100 metres to make it across the ground and to the bench. Carlton by 21 points, 24-minute mark of the last.
Well, that was a massive hit, and you understand why people get hurt in this game. When they're going at 30k an hour, running into each other. Gee whiz, that was big.
Kick inside the 50 for the Blues. A chance still. As the tackle's laid on Luke Bruce, and the umpire's going to toss it up. Carlton leading by 21 points. 24 minutes gone in the final term. So we'll still have another 3 minutes or so as the lights are turned on here at the MCG. Warple socks it off the ground, can't clear the congestion. Setterfield gathers, standing start from 45. It's out to the right, and Frost takes the mark over the behind line. I'm just going to confer here between the field umpire and the goal umpire. Goal umpire had signalled a behind. Frost was keen to bring it straight back into play. Carlton by 22.
What are you seeing downstairs, Roger Aldridge?
Yeah, Jaeger came to the bench as if he was carrying very little injury. He grabbed the water bottle, he sat down. The trainers don't seem to be too concerned. I'm hoping he's got a Panadol as well. But, he's sitting there like he's just come up for a bit of a rest.
Carlton wins back possession on the members' wing, but the Walsh hand pass went straight to Warple of Hawthorn. Through the hands they work. At Impey to Morrison. Morrison to half forward. Lewis comes out. Can't impose. Doherty gets it for Carlton. Hand pass to Newman. Off to Gibbons at left half back. Hand pass to Sard. Confronted. Curling kick around the body. Well superb mark. Looked out of position opposed to Impey. Rode aerial contact and marked and fires it into the middle. Setterfield's got it now. Plowman breaking for him. But instead he kicks to centre half forward. Eddie Betts has got it and dragged down after he took the mark.
Should be 50, shouldn't it?
No 50 against Hardigan. Eddie's pointing towards the goals. Man on the mark is 50 out. Eddie, this seems highly ambitious. In fact, it's Ed Curnow who's taken the mark.
He can't get there.
Might be equally ambitious.
Can't be Eddie Betts either.
Eddie's in the goal
square.
Short
one would be nice, Ed.
Ed Curnow from the centre square. Has he got the sort of distance of Harry Mackay?
Don't tell me.
It's a thumping kick. He only just misses on the left-hand side, and he who doubts is made to look foolish.
Yeah, me.
Mainly me, Sellers. Behind are the Blues.
And me.
And a 23-point lead in the dying stages.
Hardwick long back into play for the Hawks, straight down the middle, brought down by McAvoy. Curnow kicks inside the 50 again. Scrimshaw waiting for that kick to Hardwick, to Reeves, to Mitchell. Another disposal. 44. Hand pass to Impey and now to Jaff. His kick is not going to clear the defence. And Doherty takes the mark at left half forward for the Blues. The co-captain's in no urgency to move it, despite Eddie Betts being free in the pocket. You'd have to get it over Frost though. Doherty's going to put it towards Harry Mackay, towards the top of the goal square. Cripps is there as well, in from the side. McAvoy knocks it down. Jaff onto it. The hand pass to Impey. He kicks out of defence. Mitch Lewis with the bouncing footy. Can't gather. Gets the hand pass to Impey at right half back. He kicks a long ball around the wing. Carlton with 2 on 1 and big fly from Jones. Takes the mark over the top of Zach Williams, and Zach Williams was more impressed than Jones was as he congratulates him as he has the footy on the turf.
Now they're setting up well behind the ball. They're actually putting pressure on the opposition. They kick it to them. They do turnovers after turnover. So they're doing well there.
Jones to Cripps on the wing, goes back to Williams. Williams back point of the square. He kicks to Cripps again, attacking side of the members' wing for the Blues. Maybe one last forward thrust here. Kick goes to Stocker in the centre corridor. Mackay not really leading for him as the seconds tick down. Stocker kicks inside the 50. Out they come. Pitnet and Betts. Betts at the back of the pack. Knocked down. Walsh tries to rove. Carlton fans rise. Not the most aesthetically pleasing contest, but Blues fans delighted to bank the 4 points.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. We're all the champions they like to send up. We'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been played.
Carlton led at every change by 10 at quarter time, 3 at the half, 19 at three-quarter time, and in the end win 13-8-86 to 9-9-63. There was only a brief period, in fact, about 2.5 minutes of the day in which Hawthorn led. That was in the third term when Dylan Moore put one through at the 7-minute mark. Sam Walsh superb with 30 disposals for the Blues. Last time Carlton beat Hawthorn at the MCG was the day Sam Walsh was born, July the 2nd, 2000. Carlton by 23 points.
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark Blues.
Carlton
Baggers, how good is that?
13-8-86. Hawthorn 9-9-63 on Grandstand AFL on ABC Sport. The goal kickers for Carlton: 2 to Owies, 2 to Betts, 2 to Mackay, taking his season total to 35. Singles to Silvani, Murphy, Williams, De Koning, Walsh, Pitternet and Gibbons. For Hawthorn, 2 goals to Morrison, 2 goals to Bruce, singles to Lewis, Kajitsky, Moore and Howell. Carlton by 23 points over Hawthorn to make it 4 wins and 6 losses this season for the Blues, ahead of matches against Sydney at the SCG, West Coast at the MCG and then the bye. Hawthorn moves to be 2-8 ahead of a clash with Gold Coast in Darwin and then the bye for the Hawks. We've got 10 minutes to wrap things up at the MCG before we send you off to the Adelaide Oval, most of you at least, for the Crows and the Demons. If you're listening through the ACT, you'll go to the NRL, the Titans and the Bulldogs. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure to sum things up this afternoon on Grandstand AFL.
Oh, we saw a spirited clash of two sides who probably aren't at their absolute best and not maximised, really. I mean, Hawthorn are rebuilding. Carlton are unsure of themselves, I would think, in a sense, how they played. But they battled it out in the end. I mean, at half-time there was a goal in the game, and the Blues actually made most of it. They had 2 goals that kicked against them, and the Blues kicked 5 for the quarter, for the second half, and all of a sudden they hung on. I think there was a moment where they stopped the goal in the third quarter by just diving on it over the line, stopped the goal, and all of a sudden from that moment on the contest was on, and they continued to compete, and all of a sudden they win that with some good stuff. It wasn't the greatest game I've ever seen in my life. There was a hell of a lot of mistakes. There was some fumbles. There was poor kicking. I had it all, I can tell you. Everything that you didn't really want to see, most of it. But some of it was pretty damn good, and it was courageous, and it was tough, and there was contest after contest. So I really enjoyed that part of it. But the skill level, I would think, would have been below average, Rama, for an AFL game. Maybe they'll pick something up out of it, one of them. Or I thought Hawthorn were pretty good at times, but they just can't score.
Al touched on the historical side, Ramo. Mark Murphy playing his 293rd game. It was just the second time he's beaten Hawthorn in his career, so that tells you a bit of the dominance in which the Hawks have had over the Blues over the years.
Yeah.
Sir Swamp Thing with that one on Twitter, the Guru.
They'd won 17 of their previous 18 against the Blues, and there was a run of 14 in a row prior to the most
no
recent
one beats us
Carlton win.
18 times in a row.
You look at the way this game played out. Carlton's first quarter, 4 goals to 2. Sam Walsh was dominating that quarter.
Oh, yeah.
And then you look at the third quarter when probably Hawthorn were on top, but Carlton win the quarter 4 goals to 1. And there's the real difference in the game. 1 goal apiece in that last quarter, and Hawthorn actually, it was 5 goals to 4 in that second quarter. So it's 2 quarters really where Carlton were able to hit the scoreboard in a more effective manner than Hawthorn. Their last quarter just became an arm wrestle. You love the game of Sam Walsh today.
Oh,
so the kid he's a young star of the competition. He's one of the real elite midfielders now. He's running power, and we've seen him so often play on a wing in his first couple of seasons. But now he's a bona fide midfielder, hard at the ball, kicks it well, kicked the goal today. Now Ed Curnow, I know he does get a lot of knockers at Carlton, but he just week in, week out, you know what you're going to get from him.
His kicking efficiency was 41% today.
That's up from last week. Yeah. It was 32 last week.
But he laid but you know what? He laid 9 tackles.
Yeah, he's hard at it, mate.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't see. They see, okay, the kicking sort of stuff, but the other stuff, when you've actually got to get the hands dirty, he's the one that's
I agree with you.
Consistently does it. You need those type of players in your team.
See, what you want him to do is actually run with someone, because he always gets 19 or 20,
That's right.
and it doesn't really matter, and he restricts the opposition. So that's what you want to see him do, but I think he ran on his own today.
The big change for Carlton today was playing Williams and Sard across half-back. So they've had 26 possessions each, so 52 possessions combined there. Williams wasn't getting it done in the middle of the ground. So, okay, let's reset him. Let's take him back to his most comfortable position. And he was a real driving force within that team.
Lockie Plowman played his 100th game for the Blues today, so a bit reluctant, but the Carlton players pushed him to the front for the 45,741 of the Carlton fans that were still here. They gave him a rousing applause as he left the field.
He's a role player, and good on him. He's hung in there very well. They had tape all over him everywhere. But you know what? He did a role.
The Hawks, on the other hand, although they win the game, they cleaned up a lot of areas that they were ordinary at last week. They win contested ball, they win tackle count, they won the clearances today where they're absolutely smashed last week. So there's a couple of ticks there, but the efficiency when Hawthorn are taking the ball forward was pretty poor today.
They got knocked over for class, really.
Yeah.
No one up forward could actually mark the ball, really. Yeah.
We'll get the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year in just a moment. We'll get you into the Carlton rooms for the song. But Clinchy mentioned the crowd there, 45,741. Saturday afternoon football. In recent times, people have suggested that it's on the way out. It seems in terms of fixturing, it's no longer a priority for the AFL. It's not as an appealing time slot for TV broadcasters, but it's the traditional Saturday afternoon time slot that I think people still really enjoy. Certainly our listeners, the connection we have with our audience on a Saturday afternoon is superb. And yes,
stunning day.
Perfect day helps, but you've got two battling teams playing and you draw a crowd of 45,741. I'd love to see some better games on Saturday afternoons as part of the fixture, but it's a different landscape.
They don't want it, though. And they're going to have to. So they send them down to Tasmania, the afternoon games on Saturday. That's what they're doing there. And so
I think you and I got a little trip down to Tassie together.
Sent us down there with them. I tell you, that's the worst part, isn't it?
You'll enjoy yourself.
I love Tassie. I reckon it's fantastic. No, I do. But no, I don't think we can get there.
Get to Penguin? Where?
We're not going to. It's down at Bloodstone, isn't it?
Have a look how far ahead. I'm 1 week at a time.
Anyway,
4 or 5 days down there, Sellers. Sort you out. Good and proper. Votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year today.
I tell you, I gave one to Zach Williams. I thought he was really good today. He found his space at the half-back. He and Sard, and they actually pearled so many possessions. They both had exactly almost the same, 26 each, so pushing it out of half-back. That's what you need from them. They kicked the ball well, and his movement was good, and he was smart in how he did it. I gave 2 to Tom Mitchell, who seriously just continues to rack up possessions, 40-odd possessions.
He's good today.
Very good. 16 contested. He's had tackles, he's had clearances 8. Enormous score involvements 3. So, but then the best player on the ground was Sam Walsh by a mile. I thought he only had 30 possessions, but his impact was 17 of them were contested, 6 tackles, score involvement 7. So he's had a really big. It's unbelievable when you think about it. So he's under his 50th game or on his 50th game. So as a kid, he's a star. He made a massive impact for the Blues.
And Rama, just a comment for Hawthorn fans out there, naturally going to be disappointed to be where they are. So used to success, they're now 2-8 this season. What glimpses are you seeing into the future that might have Hawthorn supporters drawing a little positivity?
Well, you're looking at your young players today. Where are the ticks and where are the crosses? I thought Kazitsky was pretty good today. Lewis was obviously well beaten by Wiedering. Hanrahan probably should have kicked 2 goals. He was okay. And then the other, obviously, CJ's we know he's going to be a really good player for Hawthorn. He looks cut up. But I did like the Greaves and Betts matchup, albeit Eddie Betts kicked. What did he kick today? Two goals, 1. Yep. He hung in there, Greaves. To play a full game on a player like that, you won't forget that. It'll be in the memory bank. Okay, this is one of the best small forwards of our era. Ever. Yep, agree. You don't forget challenges like that as a young player.
Carlton 13-8-86 defeated Hawthorn 9-9-63. Down at Cardinia Park, the Cats 10 minutes into the final term are leading Gold Coast by 33 points, 11-5-71 to 5-8-38. If you're interested in the closing stages of that call, you can get it on the AFL app. Cameron's kicked 3, Hawkins 2, Duncan 2, who were told he was concussed, and Rowan 2, the multiple goal kickers for the Cats. King, the only multiple goal kicker for the Suns, with a couple. Tonight in the West, for our West Australian audience and news radio listeners through the ACT and New South Wales, it is Fremantle and Sydney, while everyone else will get the clash between the Bulldogs and the Saints from Docklands. Most of you, though, next are headed to the Adelaide Oval. The Crows are taking on undefeated Melbourne. If you're listening through the ACT to the NRL, you can get the call of that match coming up, the Titans and the Bulldogs. So great to have your company from the MCG this afternoon. It was the Blues winners by 23 points over the Hawks.